All right, guys. JE Live Rams post game here. Oh boy, that game. I mean, it just you look at it and everything about that was frustrating. Just the worst game of the year. Clearly, I think the Rams, under different circumstances, should have beat this team. You get off to a bad start. We know as well as anybody, just seeing some of the games in the past, how things can snowball. And yeah, it sucks. I mean, I think really what it comes down to is, you get you get 3 sacks right at the beginning of the game. One of them's overturned. Referees were terrible. Shocker. But I don't think we can discount how much of an effect that had on the game, to just give Dallas a free first down, keep their drive alive. Then they give up a touchdown because, I mean, that should have been a 3 and out. They got bailed out by the officiating there. So let's just start it off from the beginning and work our way to where we want to go, because that's going to be brought up. I'm going to bring it up. It's my show. I'm going to bring it up. I think the officiating is absolutely dog water, and I think they have very much affected games this season. They've taken away 2 touchdowns. They turned a first down. They turned a loss of 1 yard last week against the Steelers into an automatic first down. They threw a pass interference call last week when the guy didn't even touch him. So I do think the officiating has to be better, because this is ridiculous. It's starting to look like one-sided. They ended up having the same amount of penalties, but the ones they called on the Rams were egregious and I think hurt them early on. With that said, okay, because the refs did get involved at the beginning of this game, they did change the outcome, at least at the beginning of the game, because Dallas, if they're punting the ball, you have to keep this in mind, because we're talking about everything here, okay? We're not just talking about the officiating. It doesn't mean that they lost because of the officiating, but you can't just sit here and lie to yourself that Dallas getting a free first down on an incomplete pass, because it was a bad call that even the announcers agreed was a bad call. So you give them a free first down, they go down and score. Had they punted, they don't have 7 points. And the Rams went down and they kick a field goal, but on a third down, the guy is holding Cooper Kupp's jersey and you don't call it. It has to go both ways. Credit Greg Olsen, credit Kevin Burkhardt for calling that nonsense out, because that was bullshit. That should have been called. Now, you can say, okay, don't blame the refs. I'm talking about everything, right? So we're starting with the refs because that was the beginning of the game. You could say don't blame the refs all you want, but that is we're talking about that being what? A 7, 8, 10-point swing, whatever. They were terrible in this game, and it all was at the very beginning that gave Dallas a boost. So I am going to talk about them at the very beginning. Now, I'll say this, okay? Rams were good enough to win this game. Not today. Really disappointed because I thought the defense came out with a fire. There's no way Dallas fans right away after 3 sacks, one was taken away because of a BS penalty, but 3 sacks on that first drive, there's no way Dallas fans thought they were going to win the football game after seeing that. They were like, oh boy, Dak has no time to throw. This is going to be bad, okay? So that is, I wanted to put all of that out there. I wanted to give that all light. I thought the defense came out with a fire, and then just really quickly, it just was gone like that. Credit to Darrell Henderson, Royce Freeman. Running backs actually were doing some work on the offensive side. I thought they did a really nice job. I mean, Darrell struggled a little bit in the running game. We'll go back, we'll watch the film, and we'll evaluate the numbers from Next Gen Stats and see if there were any. It looked like there were some pretty loaded boxes in this game, but no way to know until you look. And I thought Royce ran really hard, 9 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Darrell had 85 total yards, including 54 of it coming in the receiving game, the leading receiver today. So I thought he was good. Tyler Higbee had 2 crucial drops. Puka Nacua has a drop. We don't talk about it because Puka Nacua is a sensational rookie, but we should talk about it because Puka Nacua's drops hurt just as much as Tyler Higbee's drops, just as much as a Cooper Kupp drop. And it just continues to be an issue. When Stafford isn't playing his best football, he's not healthy. You can clearly see he's not healthy, and now he's definitely not healthy, for those of you who are wondering. You got to call it like it is. When guys drop passes, it makes it really hard at the end of the day to win football games. And so, that's really what it was for the Rams, at least the way I saw it, is that they had an offense that continued to stall out. They had some BS calls. Again, calling it one way for the Rams, not calling it the other way for the Cowboys. When they hold Aaron Donald, when they hold Byron Young, so forth, that doesn't get called, but it gets called on the other side. And quite honestly, it's my platform, and I'm sick of watching it. I'm not going to be a guy that just only talks about the officiating, but it continued to come up throughout this game. And I think that, it's gotten out of hand. They were screwed last week. Everybody knows it. They were screwed early on in this game, kind of led to a snowball effect. They were screwed. They had 2 touchdowns taken away from them against the Bengals. I don't know when it ends, but eventually, hopefully, they'll stop calling it one way when it just seems like they've just had this pick on the Rams. And I haven't really called out the officiating like this all year. I think I've reached my breaking point when it comes to the officiating, because I just think they're absolute dog water. And it's just getting to the point where it's just like it's bad. So look, let's stick to football, right? Like, because I want to talk about the football, but Tutu Atwell, 2 catches for 21 yards. I don't get it. This is the most dynamic weapon on your offense, and you're just not even using him really. He had two catches. He had a beautiful catch, ran a perfect dig route, caught a really, really nice catch over his frame, and then he catches a screen pass at the end of the game. It sucks because the first offensive drive where they used that, on the scripted drive looked really good. I was really impressed. Like it's like they watched my video and, they took some things away, like, oh yeah, maybe we should do that. Like maybe we should run a slip screen. You guys see the slip screens? They haven't had an end around since week 3. And so they run an end around right after I dropped the video. And then they hadn't run any slip screens. I don't even know when was the last time they ran a slip screen, like the 32-yarder that Henderson had. And then they run one after my video. It's like, I know they watch it. I don't know if McVay ever sees my stuff, but I don't know. Maybe it got to them this week because it seemed like they tried to mix things up a little bit, at least on that first drive. The bummer here is that if this defense that has played their ass off all season long, if this defense that has kept them in every single game all season long showed up today, the Rams could have won this game. Of course, assuming Stafford was healthy. And what happened was, I thought at one point the offense was outplaying the defense. The defense was not good enough today. They got off to a really good, some really good pressure early on. But, I mean, after that pressure, there wasn't any more pressure coming. The secondary got abused. I saw people bashing on Ahkello Witherspoon, saying he's had 2 back-to-back horrible games. He wasn't bad against the Steelers, first off. We broke that down all 22. And if you didn't see all 22, then you should tune in this week on our all 22 film breakdown on Kick. Because if you're not watching all 22, then you shouldn't be talking about corners, because there's a lot more that goes into it than just the broadcast view. However, I will say this, okay? Darion Kendrick had his worst game of the season by a country mile. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put him on CeeDee Lamb, but it wasn't. And Lamb went for 12 catches, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 12 of 14 targets. Dak was 25 of 31 for 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Thought he played extremely well. The Rams, 3 sacks they got on the first drive, and then after that, I thought he did a nice job. Tony Pollard didn't even really have to get anything going. But keep in mind, and this is fair to say to the defense, okay, 43 points, 7 of that went to, pick 6, and then 2 went to the blocked punt. I still don't think they were good enough. And I think it's just so hard to evaluate a game like this because so much goes into the game planning and everything, and how you expect to game plan is like the game flow of it. Like if you're in a close game, you can stick to your game plan. When it becomes a blowout, there's not much really else you can do. You can't really run your offense how you want to run it. So it's tough to evaluate. End of the day, I was really disappointed. I was really pissed, honestly. I think, I don't know. It's just really upsetting. And I got to tell you, I credit the Cowboys. Like, they played well. I don't know what it is, but I don't think they're this good. Like, and what I find funny is I know the mainstream media is going to, who hasn't given the credit to the Rams all year long and acts like they're a bad team and said that they were going to be tanking for Caleb Williams before the season, is now going to use this as a device to prop up the Cowboys and call them Super Bowl contenders, because we know how this works. And I just don't think that's fair. Right now, the Rams are just kind of a middling football team. That's what they are. They're mid, as the little kids call it. Look, Rams are 3-5. Guess where they were last year? 3-5. But they lost to the Dallas Cowboys 22-10 last year, and this time they lost 43-20. This was a game that wasn't really characteristic to Rams football, and to be fair, they lost Stafford while they were making some sort of comeback bid. Now, I also want to call something out, because I thought it was cool in the moment, and then I thought about it. The more and more I thought about it, I thought it was really stupid. That 2-point conversion that they come down with in the third quarter, there's 11 minutes and 29 seconds left in the third quarter, and Stafford does not see the field again. And Sean McVay confirmed that the 2-point conversion pass that he caught was the reason why he didn't see the field the rest of the game. He got hurt. So I would say, I would say that that needs to be very much criticized. The Rams went 7 plays, 75 yards, 3 minutes. I mean, that's a 33-15, 33-17 ball game. I don't know, man. To me, when it got to that point, and the problem is defense gave up a 9-minute drive afterwards. But when it got to that point, I was starting to think, okay, if you can keep Stafford upright, which, by the way, I'm going to say this right now, I don't want to hear anything about the offensive line. I don't want to hear anything about the offensive line. The offensive line is not to blame for anything today. Okay, the offensive line played as well as you could play against one of the best defensive fronts in football, and they were banged up. Okay, I don't want to hear it. I'm tired of hearing about it. I hear it all the time. It always happens. Oh, the offensive line isn't good enough. The offensive line didn't give Stafford enough time. When is it going to end? The offensive line is always going to be that sounding board. Like they're like, the offensive line was as good as you could ask for. Like, the offensive line's not going to get any better than that against, DeMarcus Lawrence, against Micah Parsons, against Dante Fowler Jr., against Dorrance Armstrong, against Osa. Like, it's not going to happen. So, like, I hate to break it to you, but you can't just constantly say the issue was the offensive line was bad. No. The offensive line gave up 2 sacks. One was Rippon's fault, and the other one was Stafford's fault. Stafford held on to the ball too long. Another big issue is that Sean McVay keeps calling these long developing plays deep down the field, and it's killing this team. Now, I will also say this. I don't think Sean McVay's play calling was anywhere near as bad as the consensus is going to think. Okay, I don't think his play calling was that bad. I do think at moments it was bad. I think key and critical moments, like you talk about a 3rd and 2, why are you lined up in the shotgun? Just run the ball. But at the same time, he managed the game decently well, considering the fact it got away from him so quickly. There's not really much you can do, because, what it comes down to is this. It's a 7-0 ball game when you should have gotten a stop, and the officials extended a drive that shouldn't have been extended. Dallas shouldn't have had 7 points. They should have had 0 on the first drive. The Rams go down, kick a field goal after they don't call a pass interference call that was clearly obvious on Cooper Kupp. So that would have been 1st and goal. They would have had 4 shots at the end, so at least 3. And I think they would have scored probably with the Darrell Henderson touchdown run. So that should have been 7-0. And then the defense holds him to a Brandon Aubrey 58-yard field goal. So that would have been like 7-3 at that point. The pick 6 is when this thing starts to go haywire, right? Absolutely haywire, because now it's 17-13. Then they get the safety in the second quarter from the blocked punt. So because of the safety, that's a 9-point swing or whatever, and they score on that next drive. CeeDee Lamb goes down 10-yard on a huge return, and this is the thing. As much as we blame the offense week in and week out, like, you better be on the defense. You better be on, the offensive line, excuse me. You better be on the defense. You better be on the special teams unit. How does the special teams unit give up that safety, the safety kick? How do they give up that many yards to Turpin? Like, did it surprise you? You know what Kevontae Turpin is. He's one of the best returners in the league, which no one would sign because they were kind of dumb, but you knew it if you watched the USFL or the XFL. It was one of those. I get them confused now. But yeah, he was the most outstanding player in the league. I think it was the USFL. And then no one would sign him, and then the Cowboys stepped up. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's frustrating. It never should have gotten to 33-3. At the same time, I'm just not really sure which more Sean McVay could have done. Like, what more do you genuinely think Sean McVay can do if he doesn't get the call on the first drive, then he goes and complains because he doesn't get on the second drive, and then that doesn't really come up because then you have the pick 6. Now it's 17-3. What can you do? The blocked punt, like, it wasn't great. Also, this is a defense that's one of the best in the league, and albeit they really haven't played anyone, the Rams played right into the Cowboys' hands. You wanted to be in a close game against the Cowboys. You wanted to be in an ugly game against the Cowboys. What you did not want is to be in a game where now you have to drop back past the rest of the game. And that's the game where the Cowboys can take over. And they still only had 1 sack, to be fair. So, yeah, just really frustrating. Where do you go from here? Well, Dallas is 5-2. They have the tiebreaker, so now they're 3 games ahead of the Rams, essentially, because the Rams are 3-5. It's not good right now, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not good. 3-5 is not going to cut it in this league. The NFC's bad. The NFC, there's a lot of opportunity, but this isn't good, man. This is not good for the Rams. The Falcons did lose, to be fair, so that does help. They're 4-4. Tampa, I think they're on a bye. They're 3-4. The Saints won today, though. They're 4-4. The Vikings won. They're 4-4. Seattle's currently winning. They're 4-2. Dallas is 5-2. Look, there's still opportunities. I'm not going to say there's not, but I really felt like this was a must-win. And to lose the way they did, and now we don't know what the fate of Matthew Stafford is. We don't know what is going to happen with him. If he can't go next week, that's a loss against Green Bay. I don't think they win that game. But if he can't go next week and they lose to Green Bay, it's over. It's over. I'm calling it now. I don't think that they win enough to get into the playoffs. This is starting to look like a season where they are going to barely miss the playoffs. That's kind of where I see it. Just really frustrating. And guys, I'm not trying to be, a bummer here. I'm not trying to be, Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to be a realist with you guys. That's all you guys have asked me to be, is just somebody that can give you, their humble opinion, but also, some analysis and try to educate. And that's what I'm going to try to do. Because, I think, right now they are a 3-5 football team, and they show that. They have some moments where you get really excited. They have some moments where you get really pissed. That's a 3-5 football team. This is a team that should be, they should be whatever 4-3. I don't even know what it would be. 4-4, 5-3, 6-2, whatever. You could argue they should have beaten the Bengals. They should have beaten the Steelers. It doesn't matter at this point because those arguments, they're moot. It doesn't matter. You need to win. That's the whole point of the NFL. Because I mean, we could go through it all we want. Oh yeah, they this and that and all of that. Yeah, that's great. You know the Jets are 4-3, by the way. They're 4-3. They won the game 13-10 against Tommy DeVito at quarterback for the Giants. Yeah, Tommy DeVito came in and finished out that game, and they barely won. But do you think the Jets care? No, they're 4-3 without Aaron Rodgers. What's the Rams' excuse? And the Jets, mind you, the Jets have beaten the Giants. They're not great, but they beat the Eagles. They should have beaten the Chiefs. They beat the Bills. I mean, I'm just saying, like, other teams are getting it done. The Rams are not getting it done. It's really that simple. You are what your record says you are. And so, you know, you look throughout the week, it's like the Vikings, they might not have Kirk Cousins the rest of the year, but they did win the game. They're 4-4. The Titans got it done with Will Levis throwing 4 touchdowns. Shout out to Will Levis. Gave him a lot of flack. Didn't think he was ready, but man, that Falcons defense has been pretty good this year. Was really good against Bryce Young. And Will Levis came out and pasted him. He threw a touchdown in each quarter today. So, I mean, it's just, to me, at the end of the day, you can complain. You could say, oh, we're not this. You are that. You are what your record says you are. I mean, say what you will. The Jaguars, should they be 6-2? I mean, do they look like a 6-2 football team? No, but they're 4-0 on the road. You know, one of those games includes London. So they're 4-0 on the road. They're getting things done. Their only losses, I think, they lost one game to the Colts, and they lost one game to the Texans, and they lost one game to the Chiefs. So they lost 2 straight, and now since they've won 5 straight. So that's what they are. That's what the Jacksonville Jaguars are, you know? I mean, yeah. Are the Bills a 5-3 football team? Absolutely. The Bills are the definition of a 5-3 football team. More often than not, they're going to win those close games. Josh, thank you for the 2. Draft Jaden Danielson, trade Stafford. Respectfully, I disagree with that. I don't think you need to trade Stafford. I think there needs to be better play calling for sure. I don't think the play calling was absolutely terrible today. And I also think the defense put him in a bad spot. I think the special teams unit put him in a bad spot. But yeah, it's hard to evaluate with this season, man. It really is. It's hard to evaluate. I can tell you right now, anybody that wanted to make a play at the deadline to try to trade for somebody, they won't be doing that. No chance are they trading for anybody after this game. The only thing they do is maybe they sell. Maybe they trade away somebody. But they're not trading for anybody after this game. There's no way, no how they will not be active at the trade deadline. It will not happen. I would be absolutely shocked if it happened. Kind of changed my script too. I was going to, make a video about why I think they should trade for somebody at the trade deadline. Now I don't think so. I mean, why would you? Can you really blame them? Can you really blame the Rams front office for not wanting to trade assets to go out and get somebody, even if they're a long-term asset, right? Why would you go out and trade for somebody when your team is 3-5, they're 2-2 on the road, they're bad at home, and they just lost by 23 to Dallas? I mean, Dallas lost to the Cardinals. So, I don't know. The first Cowboys series was the tail of the game. Pretty much. Yeah, it was very very, very tough. Very tough. So full disclosure, I will not be going long with this live stream. We're at the 24-minute mark. I'll bring on some people, but I'm not going long with this live stream. I don't want to talk too much about this game. It was a snowball. There's not really much I could really say. I mean, I still haven't watched the tape. So there's not a ton that I could really say. I mean, except for the fact that the Rams offense was really pedestrian. They had a few explosives. They had an explosive with Ben Skoranek that went for a touchdown. They had Tutu Atwell. They had Puka Nacua. They had Tyler Higbee. They had Darrell Henderson. Cooper Kupp once again was held in check. which is a concern. Jordan Fuller got a huge interception, kind of kicked off a potential comeback bid. I see people pointing the finger at Ahkello Witherspoon. Not sure what he's supposed to do. The first time he gives up the touchdown, he's covering one guy, and now apparently he has to cover CeeDee Lamb as well as Brandon Cooks because the safety decides to, peek down and try to go after Dak, who he's so far away from. There's the safety. I got to tell you, the safety play is not really good enough. Jordan Fuller's interception was huge, but Jordan Fuller's interception is covering up a big issue with the fact Jordan Fuller has not been good in coverage this year. He's had a couple of moments where it makes you go, okay, this was really impressive, but look, Quentin Lake needs to play way more than he does. This was probably the most I've seen him utilized, and he looked really good. I think he was only playing because what's his face? Durant, Kobe Durant got hurt or something before the game. So that's why he was playing. But, it's just, I don't know. Damn shame. Really frustrating game. Going forward, I mean, if Matthew Stafford plays, yes, I think they beat the Packers, go into the bye, come out of the bye feeling fresh, and who knows what happens. But if Rippon's playing, that's an L. They're not winning. It's not happening. I don't think they have a chance in hell with Rippon. And it goes back to my video about why I continue to say that the Rams botched this. If you draft a quarterback in the 4th round, that's not the issue. People are focusing way too much on drafting a quarterback in the 4th round. They hit on a lot of these picks in the draft. So I don't know why we're complaining about the draft. What I'm complaining about is the fact you drafted a 4th round quarterback who you now know is going to go on NFI, who won the backup job. Rippon didn't even win the backup job. Let's not forget that thing, okay? Rippon did not even win the backup job, period. He lost. He was placed on the practice squad. And now Rippon is good enough to, you're not even going to bring in anybody to try to... This is what happens when Rippon plays. He's not good. I mean, if he has to start this week, it is over. It is Jover. It is whatever you want, whatever meme you want to use, it's done. End of story. It's Stafford or nothing. I will say, had they listened to me about Carson Wentz, had they got him in the building early in the season, got him acclimated, it would have been interesting to see Carson Wentz in this offense. Am I wrong? Would have been interesting to see Carson Wentz come in when this game was still somewhat of a potential upset bid. Jordan, thank you for the 5, man. Appreciate you. JP, thank you for the 5. I'm late to the stream, but wow, these refs totally screwed the momentum of the game in the first quarter. It was so bad. Totally agree with you. It was really bad. And again, So Corey says an all uppercase letter, so I'm assuming you're upset. I don't know why you're upset. You're not as upset as I am. But anyway, yes, you're wrong. Why do you think Wentz isn't even in the league? I don't know. I keep hearing that about Darrell Henderson when I told you guys over and over and over again. It was a mistake that Henderson wasn't picked up. If the Jets signed him and didn't worry about signing Dalvin Cook to $8 million a year, they might have actually won a couple of those games when Breece Hall wasn't ready to play. And furthermore, he just continues to show you Darrell Henderson was the leading receiver today, his second game off his couch, and he wasn't on a team. So look, this argument, why do you think he isn't in the league? Because there's a bunch of dumb teams out there, and the teams that don't need him aren't dumb. The teams that do need him are dumb, and the teams that don't need him aren't dumb. So that's what happens. So look, that has nothing to do with it. Wentz had 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions 2 years ago. He started football games last year. Brett Rippon has 4 touchdowns to 8 interceptions in his career. He isn't anything. He is not a good quarterback. He wasn't good in preseason. If you brought in Carson Wentz at the beginning of the season, he'd already know the playbook and he would be able to actually play. And we keep talking about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was working with Ron Rivera and the Commanders. Are you kidding me? By the way, this is before Eric Bieniemy got there. Okay, so you're going to tell me that Carson Wentz last year, with a bad OC, with a bad head coach, and hardly anything around him struggling, you think he's the problem? You think he shouldn't play in the NFL? How the hell can you say, and it's not just you, I'm not just calling you out. What was it? Corey. I'm not just calling you out, Corey, because I see this a lot. How the hell can you say Carson Wentz can't play in the NFL, but then watch Brett Rippon today and make that argument that, oh, well, Brett Rippon can play in the NFL, but no, Carson Wentz, definitely not him. Like, are you kidding me? He wasn't trash, Jerion. He wasn't trash. His last year, he had 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. That's better than what Stafford's going to have this year. How is that trash? That's what I don't understand. This discourse about Carson Wentz is more political than it is football related. I don't care. I remove all the politics and all the nonsensical bullshit because all I care about is if you can play the damn game. And Carson Wentz can play it. And he's the best option by far. Unless you want to pick up Joe Flacco's carcass, or you want to go out and pick Nick Foles, who literally only had interceptions and didn't have touchdowns with the Colts. No one talks about that. Or if you want to pick up Colt McCoy, who's dealing with an elbow issue. Remember that? I know you guys do. Stafford was dealing with an elbow issue. How on earth do you think Carson Wentz can't play in the league? And furthermore, how could Carson Wentz not work in Sean McVay's offense? Sean McVay's offense would absolutely be perfect for Carson Wentz. Absolutely. No doubt about it. But here's the thing. Okay? It's all, what it comes down to is this. People don't want him because of politics. Whatever. Leave that out there. I don't care. My thing is, let me just ask you this. If you don't like Carson Wentz, are you prepared to watch Brett Rippon start next week? If the answer is yes, because personally, I'd rather see Carson Wentz without knowing the playbook start next week. That's how bad I think Brett Rippon is. I think Brett Rippon is to the point where he's not good enough, even if he knows the offense, to win a football game with. And it saddens me to say that because I loved this guy in college. He's not the Boise State quarterback that I scouted. I'm sorry. I stand by it. I think the Rams did a disservice to themselves by not going out and making sure they had a backup quarterback. How the hell, if you have 3 quarterbacks on your roster, 1 on the practice squad, 1 on the 53, how do you not even pick up 1 for your practice squad? How do you do that? Because if Stafford is hurt, which he has been for a while now, so now you're telling me Stafford's hurt, he goes down, you have Rippon, he goes down. You know what your emergency quarterback is? You know what your system is right now? It's Atwell or Kupp. That's it. So Cooper Kupp and Tutu Atwell. Okay, but yes, let's just care about his overly religious Tim Tebow vibes and his, political leanings. Good God. And that's all I ever hear about. Well, I don't like Carson Wentz because of his. I don't really care. Do you think all of these people have the same political sidings as you? I don't care about politics when it comes to football. Genuinely, I don't care about politics, period. It just divides people. So, look, Carson Wentz needs to be in LA on Tuesday signing a contract. Maybe tomorrow signing a contract. Because you ain't winning with Brett Rippon. And you could say, oh, well, here's what it comes down to is the Rams are trying to tank. They're not trying to tank. They're not trying to tank. They're trying to win. They're just doing a bad job of it lately. Okay? They're not trying to tank. No need to lie to ourselves. I just, that's how I feel. I'm kind of over that whole thing, very much over the thing. And just this game's just really frustrating, man. Just, God, why? If they either beat the Cowboys barely in like a close game or they get blown out. There's no in between. It's frustrating. But again, guys, I said this would be a short stream, so I'm going to start bringing people on, and then I'll call it. Let's see who else is... Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I think that's going to be it. I think I'm just going to bring on the people that are in the waiting room currently, and then I'm pretty much going to lock it after that. So let's bring on Coach Ray.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Been better.
Yeah, that was atrocious. That was very
Yeah, I
bad.
think that's, I mean, by far the worst Ram game we've had.
It's pretty bad. It's definitely up there.
Yeah. And
That
then, like I said, I think the officiating set the tone pretty early.
yeah.
They basically called who was it, Lake, on that PI, which I thought was
Awful.
little ticky tack, and then the non call against Cup.
Yeah,
They basically set the tone.
well, and that's the thing. And see, I was thinking about that. I think I tweeted it out. Is I called it. I said the penalties will be balanced at the end of the game. It'll be like 4-4, 5-5, 6-6, whatever. So
Right.
no one can point back to it. But it's when they call them. Like they know what they're
Right.
doing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there was definitely home cooking on those first two
Oh
drives.
yeah,
No
most
doubt about it.
definitely.
No
I
doubt
mean
about it.
the defense came out blazing. I don't know how you get 3 sacks. I think it was 3 sacks, and not get the ball. I mean, not get the ball back on downs,
Yeah. Well,
right? They came out firing. I mean, Donald got in. I don't know, Hoke. I always mispronounce his name.
Hoyt.
Hoyt got in. I mean,
Yeah.
they were like, I was really impressed with the way they were getting through the line. And then here I am at the end of that. They end up scoring a touchdown. I was like, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
So
Oh man. Just
yeah, and
so
then the
frustrating.
Rams, to their credit, I mean, they came back, drove it all the way back. And if it wasn't, I mean, if we just get just one call, right, on that, we'd probably be 7-7. It'd be an entirely different game.
Yeah, and I look back at that one play where the defense gets a stop. It looks like it's like a 3rd and 9 and Dak runs for the first down. Clear holding.
Right.
They don't call it. And I'm just like thinking, I've already assumed that they're not going to call it. Then there's another play where Stafford runs for 8
Yeah.
instead of throwing it deep down the field when they did call it, but he was
Right.
afraid to throw deep down the field because they weren't calling anything for the
Correct.
Rams. They weren't calling anything down
Correct.
the field. And he probably could have turned that holding call into a pass interference call
Yeah.
in any other game, but they weren't going to call
Yeah.
that. So Stafford just
Yeah.
took it, tuck it. He tucks it and runs.
Yeah. Now I don't know if you noticed this, and this has probably come up in tape reading or whatever you do in the middle of the week, but on that punt return, or for Dallas,
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if you noticed that hold.
Yeah. Oh, it was pretty obvious.
Yeah,
They
didn't
didn't,
call
though.
that hold. They didn't call that hold.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, I thought that Darian Kendrick pass interference thing, like, to me, if like, yes, okay, it's pass interference, but like, if you're not
Yeah.
calling that on the other side,
right.
like, that's the thing. Like, I kept hearing, like, people were like, well, Jake, that actually was pass interference. Yeah. And the actual hold on Aaron Donald was actually a hold, but they didn't call it.
Correct.
It's like, we could do the
Correct.
hold. It was actually this all day.
Yeah.
The bottom line is the NFL does not care. The officiating
No.
is basically a buffer, and
It is.
these more nationally televised games can get controlled easily.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say it. And I know people get
Yeah.
all, it's not rigged. I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
rigged, but I am saying
Yeah.
the referees can take control of the game, and that's what they did
Oh,
at the
yeah.
very beginning of the
Oh yeah,
game.
no, and I think they set the tone today. I mean, they were saying, "Hey, this is going to be called Dallas's way
Yeah.
to start. We're going to give them every opportunity to be successful."
The announcers even called it out. I mean, Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson were like, really? Like, we're going to call it there, but we're not going to call it on this side? Like, and Greg Olson was saying he didn't even think it was a penalty on Lake, and I agree. I just,
Right.
how do you call that? I mean, it's like, well, he got his
Yeah.
face mask. He didn't get his face mask.
No,
Stop
not
making
even
up
close.
stuff. Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
oh, God, it's so annoying. But how
Yeah.
are you feeling about this team? Kind of to wrap this up because I'm trying to go quick today.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah, I don't want to be on for 4 hours talking about this game. Good Lord. But how do you feel coming out of this game? Like, do you think this team still has playoff aspirations, or are you kind of like,
Yeah, well, I mean, I was, going in, I said, look, and this could be a statement game for them, right? If they came
Yeah.
in and beat a playoff caliber team like Dallas, then I would say I would be on board. But now that basically Dallas came out and just, whooped us with some help, obviously, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it this year at all. Yeah, I've kind of gone from hopeful to doubtful.
If they lost a close game, okay.
Yeah.
To get run over like that, it just, and I mean, look, it was a very much a snowball effect.
Right.
Anyone could get run over when you have a blocked punt and a safety and you have a pick six. I mean, this is how those games happen. You can't just run people over like that if you don't get those big plays. But at the same time, just this is how you respond following a loss against the Steelers. The way I was expecting to come out pissed off, and I mean, it looked like maybe they were, but
and I think the defense did come out pissed off. I think. I mean, I think I was really impressed with the way they were able to get in. I mean, the Dallas offensive line is no sif, right? I mean, you got some pretty high paid offensive linemen on that side, right?
At the same thing though, Tyron Smith was out. They were down to their third string left tackle. Adoga also got hurt. And I just didn't see enough. Like, they took advantage of it on the first drive, but after that, I didn't see enough fit. So, I don't know. This team has me really kind of thinking, okay, 2019, barely missed the playoffs. Going to be another one of those playoff machine. I call them playoff machine seasons where you constantly have to look at the playoff machine. You constantly have to look at the different tiebreakers. It's going to be one of those seasons, I think I can already tell. I don't think they're going to win 10 games like I initially thought. Just this type of performance just doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth. And I think 8 and 9 right now feels kind of like where they're going.
I was going to say 500, somewhere near 500.
Yeah, 8 and 9, 9 and 8.
I'm seeing right now.
And here's the thing: 9 and 8 might get you in. 10 and 7's the magic. That's the magic number that gets you in. 8 and 9 might get you in. But it is going to be, 9 and 8 might get you in. 8 and 9 probably won't get you in. But it is going to be one of those years where I think it's going to come down to the wire. Crucial games, and that Week 18 game against the Niners could probably do them in.
Yeah, but I mean, if they don't find a solution for the quarterback, this conversation is not going to go too far.
Oh God, no.
Because I don't think Ripien is going to take us to that 9 and 8 record.
I don't think he's capable of winning a game in the NFL. Like, I know he's already won 2 or whatever. He's like 2 and 4. Yeah. He's not winning a game on the Rams. He's not doing it.
Yeah.
It's not doing it.
Now, I know you've been mentioning Carson Wentz. I think he's a good stopgap person that could take us to 9 and 8. I would love, I was talking to Falco earlier. I said, I would love to have Baker Mayfield right now.
Yeah, and the Rams want him back. He wanted to come back, but it just didn't make any sense for him. He's a starting caliber quarterback, and Stafford obviously is a higher end starter, and it just wasn't going to be in the cards to pay a guy $8 million a year so he could back up Stafford. At the same time, though, I think they here's the problem with the Rams. They seem to scapegoat a lot. And I will say this, I think Maher was a scapegoat, just trying to cover up a bigger issue, which the issue still reared its ugly head today.
Yes.
Even though the kicker looked good, like Haversick, give him his props. He hit 2 of 2, first ever field goals in his career, 47 longest. But scapegoating him. And, I think you go back to last year, I think they scapegoated the backup quarterbacks. I didn't like the way they talked about, Perkins. I don't like the way they talked about Wolford.
No.
Just as soon as Baker got there, it was like they're done with them. And to me, I would take Perkins in a heartbeat over Rippon. At least Perkins can move around. Rippon is a freaking statue. Did you see him take that sack? I mean, that was worse than the Stafford sack he took earlier in the game, where you're like, man, you don't have that much time to throw the ball. Like, what are you doing? It's frustrating.
I mean, I hate to say this, but I mean, he's in the league because of his father.
Probably. I mean, I thought he'd be a hell of a
lineage,
Yeah, I thought he'd be a hell of a player coming out of Boise State. I think he was my 3rd overall quarterback.
Oh, really?
He doesn't look that good.
No, not at all. Not at all. I would definitely take Perkins over that for sure.
Yeah, and also there was no development with Perkins because they really threw him into the fire against the Chiefs, and they just were like, he can't throw down the field. It was like, you didn't really give him a chance. That was his first time ever playing in the NFL in a regular season game, And I thought he got better each year, but they were not fair to Perkins. I'll say that. He should be on this roster still. That's a guy that Wilford, okay, fine. Like he's older, whatever. But
you know what NFL stands for, right? Not for long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they have zero patience to develop anything.
I know. It's well, the young quarterback ecosystem in the NFL is broken, and I've said that 100,000 times on this channel.
Right.
I mean, I have, because it is like Will Levis just threw 4 touchdowns today. Okay.
Right.
He was the 3rd string quarterback before the season. He was the 3rd string quarterback until Tannehill got hurt. So my question is, who's evaluating that? Like, this guy doesn't just come out and throw 4 touchdowns against the Falcons defense. Like, someone missed something here, and that's a problem. And this happens a lot, because if you can miss somebody on your team and he comes in and balls out, that means there are people you're missing that aren't on teams right now, that aren't in the NFL, that are in the USFL and the XFL. And you're like, what's going on? Taylor Heineke didn't even play in the XFL. He's a backup quarterback. He ends up starting for Washington. Like, to me, it's a serious issue. I'm not saying Bryce Perkins is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but
Well, he moves. To your point. I mean, the fact that he can buy time and make plays, I think that's really what it comes down to, right?
Yeah. Well, I think if they ran more of a shorter, I mean, really what the Rams need to realize is that as great as it is to have a Stafford, as great as it is to have Kupp and Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell and Higbee and all those guys, they need to be a run-first, short passing attack that opens up the big play. They should not be big to short to run. That's what they are.
Exactly what I was telling Falco when we were kind of offline here a little bit. I was saying, in order for Stafford is not a pass and then you develop the run. It should be the other way around, because I think it will make Stafford better, right? Yeah. If the teams know that we can run the ball, right? They have to kind of stay home for a little bit, right? For that half second or two, right? And that gives that Stafford that time to find that open window, right? But we still seem to be a little pass happy.
Very much
I'm not blaming today, because today was today, they had no choice, right? But in normal circumstances, is always pass first to open up the run.
No, I agree, and I feel like in this game, this game should have been treated no differently than the Steelers game. You should have run it 30 times, 37 if you have to, whatever.
Right.
But you should have run it to mitigate the pass rush. I thought the offensive line did a hell of a job, considering they really didn't do much to slow down and weaken the pass rush. The running backs were great in pass protection. You had Henderson, you had Freeman out there helping Boom. The offensive line is not the reason they lost this game.
No, not at all. I was actually kind of impressed. I've never really seen Freeman all that close, and he broke off some nice runs and showed a lot of, I don't know, push after the initial hit.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, those guys definitely should have a role when Kyron comes back.
He reminded me a little bit of a CJ Anderson back in 2 or 3 years ago.
To me, he seems like Malcolm Brown at his best. But but he's a little bit better than Malcolm Brown, I would say.
Yeah.
But he does feel like that. I think that's what they were going for. And Henderson's just Mr. Reliable. Like, you need him in pass protection. You need him at the goal line. He should have never left the Rams. I know, that was stupid.
They're fortunate to get him back, but he should have never left. Not to address the situation with Cam Akers, because Cam Akers should have been the one that should have been dropped.
Oh no, I absolutely agree with you. But yeah, no, I appreciate you hopping on, Coach Ray. It was nice.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I always love talking Rams.
Yeah, nice chopping it up with you as always. And we'll hopefully be on a little bit longer next week. I don't want to give this. I hear you.
I wouldn't want to be on long either.
Yeah, this is my second live stream since. So
yeah, I hear you, brother. Have a good one. Thanks too. Again.
Yeah, absolutely. You take care.
Bye.
All right. So let's see here. We got P Train. How you doing? Oh boy, ran out of water. You're on mute, my friend.
Hey, Jay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How's it
Okay,
going?
I'm good. I'm on my way to work.
I figured
I'm
we
rushing
hadn't
to the
chatted in a
call.
minute, so I wanted to get you on.
Yeah. I was going to send you a message. I could jump the line because I'm have to go into work
Oh,
on my
I
way
just used
now.
I just read your mind, I guess.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So I mean, let's address it. Is this team still a playoff team in your mind?
No,
No
absolutely
playoffs.
not. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's depressing. I mean, I don't really think they are either, to be honest with you. Right now, I think they're fringe. I mean, I think they have a shot. But I mean, it's just not great right now.
I think we got a connection issue of some kind.
You can't hear me? Huh. Can you guys hear P-Train? I mean, well, yeah, you can hear P-Train, but I guess he can't hear me.
Connected with me, Jay?
You there? All right, I think I lost you.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, well, our connection is very bad.
Yeah, it might be tough to get you because, you keep cutting in and out.
Yeah, I can hear you good now. I don't know how long it's going to last for some reason.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, because I'll probably lose you. But what are your thoughts going into? Well, just in general.
Well, I know this may be jumping the gun, but I think I think Father Time has caught up with Stafford. All those injuries that he's had over the years, really solid football up in Detroit, I think is kind of caught up with him.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree. Just because I mean, I think the hip is still bothering him, and then he gets the thumb injury. And I don't feel like we'll be able to know for sure until he's healthy, and then we see like, okay, this is what he is. Because right now I think he's overcompensating for some things, especially what's going on with that hip. And I do think that, I mean, the thumb, it's only going to get worse. So the hope is that the thumb isn't bad enough where like he can actually play next week. But if he can't, I mean, they're not winning that game. That puts them at 3-6 going into the bye, and they have to climb out of a hole. And essentially, I mean, they could only lose 2 games and really only 1 game at that point. So to guarantee a playoff berth. So, I mean, it makes it really tough.
Yeah, I mean, for me though, that's kind of sort of a little bit of my point as far as like the hip injury. It's the thumb injury could happen to anybody. You could have hit anyone's helmet. It could happen to anybody. So I'm not so worried about that. But the hip, it's the elbow, it's concussions, it's the spinal contusion. These things are mounting up on him. And I just think that, yes, I think his brain is still there. Like he can dissect defenses. He knows where to go. You're not going to fool the man. But I think his body, the physical aspect of it has caught up to him where, he's just not the same Stafford as he used to be. And should we really expect that at his age and given the many hits and everything he's taken at the quarterback position over the years? I just think it's time that we start coming to the realization about him. He missed half the year last year. Now he's going to probably miss some time with that thumb. So I don't know. I'm not. I think it's getting time to start replacing Stafford and maybe I don't know about trading him, but I don't know. I'm just frustrated with the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely frustrating. I wouldn't trade him. I wouldn't bail on him. I think it's not like he's Ben Roethlisberger or Peyton Manning at the end of their career. He's definitely not Matt Ryan at the end of his. I think right now I think he's still Stafford. I think he still makes all the throws. I think he's just banged up, and I think the bye is really going to be telling. If he's able to get healthy coming out of the bye, they could go on a little run there, but. I think the key is you finish off strong before the bye. You get that win in Lambeau, and then you go into the bye. You get some rest, and you come out. Hopefully, you can take down Seattle, who you beat by 17 on their turf, and then you got the Cardinals, and you got teams like Washington and the Giants upcoming, and it's not in that order, but there's an opportunity here. It's just right now I'm just not feeling like this team's definitely going to make the playoffs. Like I did after the end of the last game, I just felt like, yeah, it was a, tough thing, but I definitely felt like they were, going to rip off some wins. I really thought they were going to win this game coming in. Like I really thought so. I thought the Cowboys were overrated.
Yeah,
I thought they blew it.
Yeah, it's really hard to put your finger on one thing because one week it's this, and that. This week, it's Sheldon and a little bit of the offensive line not holding up against a great pass. Took second game in a row. So what's going on with that? Are they double teaming them, daring Puka and the rest step up? Well, then that plays into my conclusion that I've said before on here that Stafford has a bromance with Kupp, and he throws to Kupp no matter what. And everybody knows this, and they're teeing off on this, and that's why the pick six happened today because the guy knew he was going to throw to Kupp, and he's just baited him and waited for it.
Yeah, just really frustrating. The throw to Kupp was just inexcusable, but yeah. Any final thoughts, P-Train?
And he did the same. He did the same thing last week against Steelers when Watt intercepted that ball in the start of the third quarter.
Yeah, that
same thing. He threw it to Kupp there was 2 or 3 people on him, and that's like, why are you throwing to Kupp? He's not open. But Stafford has this mentality that that gunslinger mentality, and Kupp's his guy no matter what. He's got to go through his progressions, read and find the open guy, whether it's Kupp, Atwell, or Puka.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Appreciate you. I know you got to get to work, but appreciate you stopping by.
Well, yeah, it's frustrating. I know that's where a lot of mine's and everybody's is coming from right now is frustration.
Yeah.
Because you can't put your finger on one single thing. It's play calling. It's mismanagement of timeouts. It's Stafford's decision making. It's injuries. It's everything. It almost feels like last year, but maybe a little worse because our offensive line is held up for the most part. But
yeah.
now it's other things. It's Donald not getting pressure like he used to. Even when he's been double teamed his entire career, he used to find a way to wreck the game anyways. He's not doing that anymore. Is Father Time caught up to him a little bit? Maybe. It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think right now it's just kind of a joint effort. They just, it's a joint losing effort. And I mean, that's kind of how I would put it. There's some guys that flash.
Exactly.
But I think to your point, it's just kind of back and forth. Like if they have the defense figured out, then the offense struggles. If the offense plays well, the defense struggles. If they, did special teams units having a huge day, both the defense and the offense will struggle. It's always something. And they have not been able to play a collective game of 4-quarter football. And since week 1, that's why that they only have 3 wins when they should probably have 5 or 6. So, yeah, it's it's just frustrating. I mean, they're 3-5 for a reason. That is what their record is. It indicates that they haven't been able to get the job done in crunch time. They've stayed in games and they haven't finished games. And this was another one of those games where not crunch time, but they just they let this. I don't know. They let Dallas just dunk them, and that's pretty much what happened. But Yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's nothing really else to
Yeah.
say, you know.
Yeah, I figured the record was going to be 7-10 back a few games ago or whatever, back in the season when we were making predictions on here, and I said 7-10 was probably going to be where they're at, and I don't even know they're going to make that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I had 10-7. I mean, I think it was definitely possible after last week. I don't know. This week it feels more like 9-8 is probably their best case scenario, and their worst case is maybe like 5-11. By the way, worst case being the literal worst case. I can't see them not winning another game the rest of the year. I can't see them only winning one game the rest of the year. Maybe 5. Did I say 5-11? My bad. 5-12. But yeah, I mean, if they finish 5-12 back-to-back seasons, that's not going to look good.
Yeah, it's not at all, and you got to. Where are the heads going to start rolling? I mean, you just replaced a whole bunch of the coaching staff this year, especially on the offensive side of the ball, a little bit on the defense. And I don't know, is it coaches? Is it players? Is it both? Most likely. You know, Yeast played a pretty good game today, at least from some of the stuff that I saw from him. He looked like he was doing pretty good.
Yeah, I think there just needs to be more communication in the secondary. There's just too much finger pointing and, you know, oh, where was this guy? And he wasn't here and I need help. And it's like, what? I mean,
yeah.
John Johnson needs to play more.
Yeah, where's John Johnson? Exactly. Get this man in there. Why are we not? Is he so far behind that we got to hold him out week after week?
I think they're basically just saying he's not good enough to see the field right now. And I don't know if I agree with that. Because, I mean, Fuller, yeah, he had the interception. Fuller has not been great in coverage. He's been very up and down. And, you know, I think a lot of people don't understand, like Akello getting burned, so to speak. He's not really getting burned. Like, I mean, guys aren't really... Like, he had a moment where he had to cover both Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb because one of the safeties dropped when they saw Dak was rolling out. He thought he was going to run. Like, you got to be kidding me. Stay on your guy. Like, it's not going to help. So, yeah, there's too much of that. It's really... It's upsetting because you hear the same BS narrative. Oh, it's this young team. No, because the guys that are young aren't the problem right now. I mean, maybe Kendrick, but... You know, when you look at like Stafford throwing pick sixes and Cooper Kupp having back-to-back 20-yard games and, you know, Tyler Higbee having drops and, you know, Jordan Fuller not really able to play well in the back end of the secondary aside from being in the box. It's like these are all veterans that we're talking about. So it's not the narrative of constantly, oh, it's this team's too young. It's not that. It's not that at all. You know,
you've sold me on Wentz. I was wanting Colt McCoy, but I'll take Wentz right now over Stafford because Stafford to me is just not making great decisions. All these interceptions, he stares down Kupp all the time, and I want to have Wentz come in there and or somebody, McCoy or Wentz, and I don't know what they're going to do with Stafford. He's got such a massive contract. They're stuck with it. You know, like they say, you're going to win or lose with Stafford. He's only going to take this team as far as he can. But I think the writing's on the wall for Stafford. I may be jumping the gun. I might be premature for you or for a lot of others. But I think Father Time has just caught up to him, and that hip is just the latest thing. It's going to be something else a few weeks from now. You know, that's just my thoughts on it.
I mean, it's certainly possible, but I'm not too worried about Stafford. I mean, obviously the finger doesn't make me feel great, but the thumb injury. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really think it's anything like that. I think he still has plenty left in the tank, and you see it, the film, just what he's able to do with some of these throws, just remarkable stuff. But no, I really don't like just how everything seems to be deep pass to intermediate to then short to then running. I feel like they need to be more of a run first team, and they should do that anyway to keep him alive. Like if you could get 3 years out of Stafford and say you cut down maybe 1,000 yards of his passing and you decide to run the football, you would do that, right? Like if you could get 3 years out of him doing that, as opposed to maybe getting 2 years of him throwing it and then he can't play that third year, like you would take the running. And I just think they need to run the ball more. 21 carries isn't bad, but it's not great. Like 30 last week was good, and it still wasn't enough. They should have run it more. I think right now you got two good running backs in Darrell Henderson and Royce Freeman, and they need to run the ball more. And that's pretty much that.
Yeah. And yeah, Sheldon playing today. I mean, they were up against a great defensive line on that Cowboys, but Sheldon, he just seemed to have a bad game today. I'll cut him some slack because he seemed to be playing pretty good all year long, but today was not his day. But you're dealing, and I don't even know how Nopun played. I caught some of the game, then I fell asleep because it was just, forget it. I needed a nap. I was too emotionally drained.
I thought the O-line played well for the most part. You're not really expecting him to go out there and dominate a really good defensive front. I think it was on the play calling, these long developing passing plays, which we talked about last week. And I think, the Stafford pick 6 was bad. I think Stafford held on to the ball too long at times. I think the defense really hurt the offense. I mean, the defense really struggled in this game, and the special teams unit struggled. It was a collective loss. I mean, that's really what it was. So,
Yep, 100%. 100%. They're dying like this.
Yeah, but B-Train,
everybody's playing the thing. I'll let you get going because I know you got a lot of other people.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to be on that long. So, I will. I'll catch you next week, man.
Yes, sir, brother. Take it easy and have a great week.
You too. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. All right, Jordan. Don't get me on for 20 minutes now. Oh, man. I'm already over this. God, I'm over this game. So over this game. Jordan, you're on mute, by the way.
Yo.
What's up, man?
Hey, man. I just got to open up with this. Ain't it sorry to see Bones on the other side?
I mean, I was more annoyed that Brian Schottenheimer was their OC, and he's dicing up Raheem Morris's defense. I was like, nice job, Brian. Nice going. If only you could have called a decent, play calling affair with the Rams. Might have actually made a playoff berth.
Yeah, I feel you there.
Dude was an absolute joke with the Rams.
Yeah, I feel you.
But yeah, man.
You know what though, Jake? I just want to say this because it's something that's bothered me since the off season. How can I put this? I've been called a fake fan because I called it for what it was going to be this year. I got called a new LA fan because you could see that I'm from California. So that's the favorite thing of all the Rams fans to say right now. Oh, you just jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, you're a new LA fan. So I just want to take my opportunity just to tell all the people that called me a fake fan because I called the Rams out for what they were going to be. Hey, it is what it is. I guess y'all got to catch up because I've been with them since St. Louis. And if you guys went with them with St. Louis, you don't know what a bad season is. So I don't want to hear it. This year right here, when we didn't sign anybody, like I said, I wanted Justin Houston just to help out. What's it called? Donald.
Yeah, that would help.
Truth be told, oh yeah. Truth be told, he would help out tremendously. And I just P-Train right now saying that Donald Father Time caught him. No, sir, not sir. No. He still got a long way to go. It wasn't on him. He looked great when the game first started. But it's like, you still got to give him some help, man. Like, regardless of what, that defense is going to be that almost every week.
Yeah, it's
No?
yeah, it's frustrating, man. I just think when it comes to this type of game, it's really hard to evaluate though, and you try not to pile on because, man, this is one of those games where you kind of have to watch the tape. I mean, the result sucks, but I mean, any game can really snowball. I mean, the keys to a snowball victory, like where it becomes a huge blowout, turnover, so a takeaway, a blocked punt, and a huge return in the return game, and they had all three of those.
That's all bones, man. That's all bones right there. Think about the Jaguars game. I think it was what,
Yeah,
17
the
when
blocked punt. Yeah,
McVay first got there. You know, I mean,
wasn't even a good game. They just like
remember, but we got the game win because of Jones. I mean, because of Bones. Think about all the games that he won himself with the fake punts, all that stuff. That was one of the coaches I wish we would have kept, man. Like, it really hurt me to see him leave. And it's just crazy to see him do his thing still continuously. But on the other coaching staff, man, like I keep seeing in the what's it called, in the comments, fire Morris. What do you want Morris to do? This ain't on him.
Well, it was his. I'll say this was his first bad game of the year. You know, they just really.
I don't even think that, man. I mean, there's situations that, like you were saying, hey, you can't blame the young players. That secondary they showed their age today. They really showed their age. And truth be told, man, like Witherspoon, I think we got to sign him and keep him for the long term, dude. I really
definitely.
do. I like what I see. He reminds me a lot of what's it called? Damn, I can't even think of his damn name. Damn, he was number 22. I can't think of his damn name.
Oh, Trumaine Johnson.
Nah. Yeah, Trumaine. My bad. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Trumaine. And to be honest with you, like, he wasn't really fast, but he just was always in the right spot. And that's somebody that I think we need right now just to solidify that secondary. But truth be told, man, I mean, I don't know, bro. We are who they say we are. I mean, my bad. We are who I say we are. And it was crazy to hear you say that we were going to do this and we were going to do that. I think we got lucky on those wins other than Seattle, Jake.
I definitely don't, man, because I mean, you could say that.
Bro.
Well, I mean, I think
close to death, man.
But I mean, I think they got absolutely shafted against the Steelers. I think they got shafted in the Bengals game. And I mean, they could have won the Eagles and 49ers game. So I mean, like that. See, that's where I disagree with you, because I totally get where you're coming from. And
at least we're consistent.
yeah. I mean, like, you know, I think it's definitely fair for the people that called you a fake fan. I mean, that's BS. And it's not like you're one of the Caleb Williams homers. I think you wanted the team to be good, and you felt like they weren't going to be good. So why waste on a season? Which I totally disagree with you, but that's your prerogative. But here's the thing. Like, I think what was our bet? Five wins? They're winning more than 5 games.
You said 5 wins.
Yeah. This team's definitely winning more than 5 games.
So what happens if they win 5 wins? Do we call it a quit, or do we call it you won it?
I think 5 is a push, I'll give you.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they win 5 games, do you get the win, or do we say, hey, it's a tie?
Yeah. I'll just do a tie.
All right, then. Because truth be told, I would, man, even Green Bay is going to be a problem, bro.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think they beat Green Bay.
If Stafford ain't ready to go, Stafford ain't ready to go,
come
on, man.
Well, here's the thing. If Stafford's not ready to go, like if Stafford's out, I don't think they beat Green Bay. But if he plays, yes, I think they beat. Because I mean, what they can do is still manage the game with their hurt Stafford. Now Sean McVay actually has to go about doing that. He can't just go deep down the field. But you can manage the game with Stafford, knowing that he can make any throw on the field and just run the football, right?
Yeah.
But with Rippon, you can't do anything, because now the team doesn't buy that you could even throw the ball. So they're just going to stack the box and they'll be like, all right, bet. I'll have Rippon try to beat us. And he can't.
Yeah.
So,
you know what, though, man?
Yeah.
I can't let you be right there by yourself, dog. I got to let you know. If we get Wentz, I'm totally behind you on that. I'll willingly say, hey, you know what? I'll get this man that jersey, bro, because I really think we would win a lot of wins. We would get a lot of wins with Wentz. Because truth be told, man, when we got Goff, I wanted Wentz, man.
Oh, I did too.
I wanted Wentz just because I knew how bad the team was at the time, and I was like, okay, this fool's gonna take a beating. And I mean, Goff's always been a skinny guy. And so I was figuring, like,
I mean, he
what,
was
if at the very
surprisingly
least,
durable.
exactly. But I think McVay came just in time. That's what that was. If they would have won another year of what's it called of Fisher, he would have been damaged goods. He would have been hurt bad, mentally and physically. But
I
to
agree with
me,
that.
I think Wentz, he would have been able to run because people sleep on that.
Well, the
That
thing
boy
I
is
don't like
athletic.
is that
He can run.
the whole idea of like Goff has always been better. Wentz pre ACL tear was going to be the best quarterback in the
remember?
NFL.
Man,
Like
who took Wentz out? Who took Wentz out?
Mark Barron.
Remember that game? We did, baby. Hell yeah, we did. And I mean, truth be told, man, it's sad how that man gets basically shit on, dude. Because truthfully, he after that ACL tear, he was never really given a real opportunity.
Yeah, and if the
He
Colts
really
stuck
wasn't,
by
because
him,
even
imagine if the Colts
Yeah.
stuck by him. By the way, think
Oh,
about
yeah.
that. Like if they stuck by
yeah.
him. And say maybe they still get Anthony Richardson, but you have him instead of Minshew, who I think is playing pretty well. But like he had 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and they just got rid of him like the blink of an eye. And it was because Irsay got so pissed that they didn't make the playoffs because they should have made the playoffs. When in reality, he put it all on Wentz.
Oh yeah, he did.
It was honestly kind of a joke, but hey, let me get through all these guys. I'll give you one final thing. What are your final thoughts? Just this game or just in general?
Man, my final thoughts are this, man. I got some carne asada on the grill. About to watch the rest of these games. I mean, it is what it is. I was ready for this season to be bad. I wasn't ready for last year, but this year I was ready for it. My final thoughts is just this, Jake, man. Have a good ass day, bro, and hopefully next week, man, it doesn't look as bad. I was expecting a loss, but I didn't want it to be this bad.
No, I appreciate it, man. I actually totally thought they were gonna win, and it was just just an absolute bummer. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not making.
Yeah. Also, too, dog. What size jersey you wearing, man? Let me know.
Large. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going XL.
All right.
All right, then, big dog. All right, man. Have a good one, bro.
All right. Later, brother.
All right, man. Rams, baby. Rams.
All right. Later. Okay, so we're gonna try to get through everyone here. Let's go. Rusty, how you doing?
What's good, Jake?
I don't know. I mean, I'm healthy.
Jake.
You know. But I would say let's go back to our usual. We'll do a 2-question gauntlet so I can get through everybody before passing out. Rusty, first question: how you feeling about the Rams' potential playoff aspirations?
I'm gonna lie, Jake. I'm sorry, I'm on the cuss today because that was fucking abysmal and pathetic by us.
Yeah, it was
I
bad.
have no idea what the fuck I watched. I woke up early in the morning to play some Batman Arkham Knight. Then I changed channel to, I didn't even know we were playing in the morning. And I just see that shit show we put on. Seriously, what the fuck were we doing? Like, we look good, then defense, I don't know, out of nowhere. Fucking Hoyt and Aaron Donald's production went down the shitter because Lake decided to have a freaking illegal hold. And that shit was so fucking bad. Like, is the official blind or is he something? But these officials are horrible. Then Rosewood was on the highlight reel right now. He got mossed. And it was just so bad, so many things. And then Stafford didn't do any favors with that stupid pick six. I don't know why the hell he holds on to the ball so fucking long. Like, the pass protection was all there. And what does Stafford do? He chucks it. And Cup didn't even know if the ball was coming to him, man. It's like it's little things like that really piss me off, and like it's those little things that really go a long way from helping us win. We should have We went head to head with these guys in the first drive. We weren't even scared. We ran the fucking ball down their throat, and of course, We just got a field goal out of that, and then the defense. I don't know what the hell was going on. So much miscommunication. Why is Yeast attacking Durant, and he was supposed to cover the back, and it's literally things like that that really pissed me off. And Raheem had a really bad freaking day, and like it was bad. And these miscommunication things is not even funny anymore, Jake. Like it pisses a lot of fans off. Holding the third downs. Oh my God, what the hell are we doing on third downs? As soon it's sad that when we are on third downs, we automatically knew, oh, they're getting the first down. Why? No one contains the outside. Dak is open. The gateways of heaven are open, and Pollard has a big open tunnel. Like, and where are our linebackers? Slow. Ernest Jones really disappointed me today. He looked so slow. I don't know if he's healthy or not, but he didn't look like himself. He wasn't getting tackles, and it's frustrating, Jake.
Yeah.
We're better than this. This roster is stacked. We have receivers, and yet we do stupid shit like this that really just kills us. The O-line didn't do that bad. How do you think they feel? They played their ass off, and this Cowboys defense is no joke. But of course, they're gonna blame the O-line for getting Stafford injured, and this and vice versa, and everything. And just
I agree. I thought the O-line played well.
It's pathetic, Jake. Like, how are the Rams really making us think that we're competitive, and they do shit like this? How did we stray away from the Seahawks game? We had other demolished them mentally and physically. We demolished them. Second week too. Then 49ers, I wasn't even scared of them. They weren't even scared of them. And then after that, the whole shit show in Cincinnati, and like, we just lost our identity.
I mean,
it's the same
I
shit
think
every week.
This game just came out of left field. I think that's why people are so upset, because nothing that we've seen out of the first 7 weeks would have indicated that they were going to get blown out by the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I'm sorry, this is not the best team they've played, not even close. And if you were going to get blown out by anybody, why wasn't it the 49ers? Why wasn't it the Eagles? The Dallas Cowboys? Like, that just doesn't sit right with me. I don't know.
These Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. So you're telling me we're that bad that the Cardinals can beat them and we can't? Like, make it make sense.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
It's also
sad,
bullshit that they played them right coming off the bye, but that's,
it didn't help us.
Back-to-back weeks.
Now. Exactly. How is it fair that our opponents, we get them right off the bye, and we're still trying to recover from the game we played last week? It's utter bullshit, but we got dealt a bad hand, and it's just frustrating, Jake. Like, and then the Ram players are like confused. Why don't they have a lot of fans in the stadiums? It's because of this shit right here. Why are you gonna waste a good amount of money just to go see them play and just for them to disappoint you? But I know it's this season, but they gotta get their shit together, because I don't even know if we're gonna make the playoffs. I want to make playoffs. They have the ability. We have the freaking team.
And I mean, the NFC isn't exactly great, so I mean, they certainly have a shot. Kirk Cousins is probably going on IR, season ending. So I mean,
yeah, Jake, it's bad. We should be winning these games. We should be above 500. No one here scares me. No team scares me. Yet the way the Rams play, it seems like we're rebuilding. Like, seriously, we have a good roster, and then they produce shit like this on TV, and like, what the hell's happening? We look terrible in all phases of the game. Defense. This was a defensive game that we looked like complete shit. And Raheem is going to get a lot of shit. And like, a lot of the fans here just want him gone. It's frustrating, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not Raheem's fault. It was a bad game. He has one bad game this year, and I'm definitely not calling for his head, because he's done a lot to keep him even in these games. But last thing here for you before I move on, because I just want to get through with everyone before I get off. Rusty, are the Rams going to win against the Packers next week?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Jake. I don't fucking know at this point. I don't know. I don't know what Rams I'm gonna get. Am I gonna get the Seahawks Rams or whatever the fuck this was? What Rams? I don't know. I don't know what to call these Rams. Jeff Fisher Rams? I don't know, Jake. That's the thing. And Stafford. I don't know how Stafford is because I don't know if he's actually gonna. We're asking a lot from him, and he has a fucked up thumb right now. Aside from his fucked up hip, he's one hit away from being on the IR. So I don't know, Jake. I don't know. Hopefully we win it, but for some reason, when we play against these teams that are complete shit, they look amazing against us. Like they find their rhythm.
I know.
So.
And then they lose. Watch the Cowboys. They'll come back down to earth next week. They'll look terrible.
Exactly.
The Steelers lost today. I love how the luck of the Rams there. Steelers ended up losing Kenny Pickett and Minka Fitzpatrick, two guys that were a big key to why they won, came back last week. And then, of course, they go down. Jacksonville has an easy win. And they didn't even make it look easy, but they still won.
Exactly,
But yeah, man, appreciate you coming on.
Hopefully we win.
And yeah, hopefully we'll have a win to talk about next week.
Well, thanks for having me, Jake. Hopefully, I'm gonna lie, this is gonna be it's a long road for us. I'm not even confident in going into the future games, but who knows? They can prove me wrong. I go kick rocks, but it's a game. It's a game in and game out every week. So hopefully win. But yeah, thanks for having me, Jake.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You take care. All right. Let's see. So I'm locking this. Blaze Blue Beats, Falco, Phoenix Nash, Uptown. That's it. I'm not doing any more call-ins. I'm not the bad guy here. I warned you. I just can't stay on too much longer. I don't want to give this game too much air. Uptown, you are on JE Live. How you doing? You there?
Hey, what's going on, boss?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, same old. I mean, just I think that sometimes when somebody shows you who you are, you kind of have to believe them. You know what I mean? We've watched Stafford several times kind of give the game away in a few situations, and it's kind of a running theme of his tenure with us. We play the Packers next week. I went to Lambeau when we won the Super Bowl the same season, and when he threw that pick six, and it's something that we can't really seem to eliminate from his game, nor can he. And sometimes you just got to believe them. And in the same way with Sean McVay, who kind of just seems to be erratic in his play calling, especially this season. I mean, I don't understand what's going on there. Do you have any ideas?
I mean, currently right now, I feel like he is kind of just scatter shooting. You know what I mean? Like the play calling is just everywhere. I don't think it was awful today. And it's so hard to evaluate because anytime you get into a game like this where you have a block punt, your special teams getting killed, you have a pick six, it's hard to, do much after that. But I thought they rallied and then it was just dead. And I think a big reason was the Stafford injury. But also the defense allowed a 9-yard drive, a 9-minute drive afterwards that just sucked up all the clock basically. So there's just a lot going on right now. I don't really know what to make of it. I think the Rams are pretty much that team that's they're going to win games. They're going to lose games. I don't even know if they're really good. I think that they're well coached. So they're coached up. I think that they were, performing at a decently high level, and right now they're going to have to dig deep. I mean, who knows? Maybe a loss like this is what they needed. Maybe, it pushes them out of whatever shell they're in. But man, I got to tell you, even today, like people called me the optimistic Rams fan. And even today I was kind of like, man, I don't even think they're a playoff team anymore. Like they still could make the playoffs. I'm not saying they won't, but today felt like they were going in the wrong direction. I can tell you that much.
No, I think it's definitely a fair point that when you're chasing the game, you're very limited in what you can do, especially when Brett Rippion's on the field.
Oh,
but
good Lord.
I think it is what it is, brother. But I think what's disappointing is just that, like you, I think I entered the season like fairly optimistic, right? And I've been with the Rams for a long time. I can remember, being like 10 years old and cheering us beating Detroit 17-10 to a 1-15 season.
Yeah.
I remember those days. But the thing was, you knew that it was going to be like that. You knew you were tuning in to watch Steven Jackson and, later on, hopefully see Donnie Avery or Danny Amendola catch some decent balls and have fun. You're going to watch, you pay $1,000 for Sunday ticket to just go 3-13 every year if you're an LA Rams fan back then. But I don't know, man. That's why it's tough right now, because you see that there's potential and that the things don't seem to be clicking. And I understand that you say that the fault is on the older players, and I agree with you there. But it's just kind of, they are who they are, man. They're showing us who they are, and that's who they are. And it's not easy to move on from somebody like Stafford or Aaron Donald, but that time is kind of fast approaching. I think that's something I realized today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. Because I think Stafford still has it. And you could see, I mean, again, I think people really want to avoid talking about the obvious here, is that the guy who's on the back of your jersey right now at home, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, they're dropping passes and it's killing drives. And I don't think that's being talked about enough, because Nakua's crazy season. Kupp had 2 100-yard games, and now Kupp has, back-to-back 20-yard games. And here's the issue, is that they're using Tutu Atwell as a decoy. They're using Tutu Atwell as a space clearer. So all he's doing basically when he goes out there for the most part is, yes, he's a read. You can throw to him. But for the most part, he is designed to clear out room for Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And when they don't come down with it, Tutu Atwell does. And so that's, it really speaks volumes to me. Like, Puka had 2 drops in this game that were huge. And he makes one catch on 4th down, and now everyone, it's forgotten about. And I understand he's a 5th-round pick, okay? And I understand he's having a historic year. But it is fair to criticize these guys, because everyone should have the equal criticism. Cooper Kupp having back-to-back 20-yard games is on Cooper Kupp. The guy's had over 10 targets in both games. And Tutu Atwell's taking a back seat so he can eat. But if Tutu Atwell's getting 10 targets, this game's different. And it's not to say Cooper Kupp is bad, but it's you can't have those moments where, hey, if your entire game plan is surrounded about Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, they need to catch what is thrown to them, because they're being schemed open. And, then you look at, Tutu Atwell, and he's not being schemed open. He's being schemed into traffic to make those options easier, to get these guys more open. And I just think it's a problem, and no one wants to talk about it, because Puka Nacua is having an incredible season, but he's leading the league in drops, and it's a problem. And you have the touchdown, I don't even get it. He survives the tough contact, and then when he goes to the ground, it pops out. These are plays he has to make. And I just think that, it's not going to get blamed. Instead, it'll pin on Stafford. I got to tell you, I think Stafford, the interception was bad. I really don't, I'm kind of over the choice routes, because for whatever reason, he and Kupp don't feel like they're on the same page. Not like they were the Super Bowl season. You have to be on
intentional grounding. What was it, last week?
Well, it's every week, those choice routes, they're not on the same page. So, I mean, you got to get away from that. You really do, because at this point, it's not working, and it's causing, you are not a team right now that can afford to be, going to 2nd and 10 or 3rd and 10. You need to pick up first downs. You need to get really good yardage on first down to set up a good second down. And if you don't get second down, you should be, 3rd and short, you should be running the football, which is my biggest pet peeve with Sean McVay. He is allergic to running the ball on 3rd and short for whatever reason. So I don't know. It's just, it's frustrating, because it's not just, it's not just Matthew Stafford, because I see a lot of drops, the offensive line at times, although I think today they were really good. And then I thought the defense just absolutely dropped the ball this week. And I don't think they all collectively were bad. I actually think Akello played pretty well, once again, and he just doesn't have help over the top consistently. There's always miscues. I just think there's way too much I mean, a lot of it we talked about with Cooper Kupp. A lot of it is just this disconnect, and like you have to eliminate that. I mean, it's football. You can't have these guys have to be on the same page.
No, you can't drop balls like that. I think it's a totally fair point to talk about the drops. You're right, but I mean, listen, when you're a rookie, like you can be criticized about it, like Puka Nacua is, but you know that it's going to improve, right? You know it's going to improve, and with Cooper Kupp, you've got money in the bank there. Yeah. And he's shown me who he is. Just to go back to that same point, like Cooper Kupp has shown us who he is. We know who he is. He's in a bad run of form right now, but come on, man. Like we know he's still going to be that guy for I think several years to come. I'm not prepared. Like how I've said, Stafford and Donald, I think we're kind of seeing a decline. And then with Stafford, even when we got him, I mean, November 2021, we remembered pick six after pick six, and it was brutal, man. And you're right, man. Drops can kill you, but drops don't kill you in the same way pick sixes kill you, man. Those murder you.
That's true. And again, like hated that throw, hated the one last week. But I mean, for the most part, like I thought Stafford played poorly last week. I thought this week he played a lot better than what the stats are going to indicate.
That's he still is an elite arm talent, and he can make a lot of elite throws. But at the same time, you can't implement your game plan and then think, okay, I'm also going to have to account for a bad, costly pick, like against the 49ers or pick sixes like this week, and what it was basically that last week for almost every other game. Like that's just tough, really tough. And if you're a team that's on the precipice of being 9-8 or 8-9, you just can't legislate for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that like the thing is, what we're not talking about enough is that, Sam Howell can go out there against the Eagles defense and he throws 3 touchdowns, and Will Levis throws 4 against the Falcons. And Stafford has these games where he throws 1 touchdown. And it's like, is it Stafford, or is it maybe that they're making it easier for these guys, trying to mitigate the pass rush with the quick passing attack and running the football? And, instead of just throwing deep down the field consistently, they're opening it up with the play action over the course of the game with the short and intermediate and run game. And now all of a sudden, those big plays are open at the end of those games because you've already put out a resume. I feel like Stafford's being thrown in like they go deep to intermediate to short to run. Like run is the last case scenario. And I feel like they really should make it like their number one option.
No, that's definitely fair. We saw that one drive coming out of the half against the Cardinals where, man, it was mustard. But as far as like the short game, I feel like our best offensive performance this season was maybe the Seahawks, but also that first half against the Niners. It was at the game. And, oh, man, we were just dicing them up with the short, medium stuff, and I don't know what happened to that. It feels like that's all gone out the window, and I'm not sure why, because that was a tough defense we were playing, and we kind of had them on the ropes.
Probably because it was working.
What are you going to do, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to me, Jake. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Be sure to tune in next week. Hopefully we're talking about a win.
Yeah, man, I hope you're right. It's not going to be too cold, I don't think, next week. Like I said, I was there November 2021. It was cold as dick. But we're early November, so hopefully Lambeau's like a nice 60 degrees, not 30.
Hey, that was my first thought when I saw the schedule. It was like, okay, at least Lambeau isn't in December. It was like, we're not winning 100%. That game.
Yeah, brutal. Super brutal.
But anyway, appreciate you, man.
Take care, man.
You too.
You too. Bye.
All right, so let's go. Falco, how's it going?
Hello.
What's up?
I'm very frustrated after that game. Like, it is like, just like you said, it turned into a snowball, right?
Yeah.
It is like from like the officiating early on, really setting the tone, to like the really bad throw Stafford had, the pick six, to the block punt. Just everything went the wrong way for us. Like every aspect of the game. Whether it be on offense, defense, special teams, officiating even, everything went backwards for us. And I feel like on top of the Stafford injury, I'm thinking if the Stafford injury is very serious, which I hope it isn't, but if it is, then our season might be done because I always thought this team was always depending on Stafford's health. And if he's not playing and not healthy, that it's done for us, because I don't feel confident inside Rippon. I honestly don't know who we can get at this point who can learn the offensive playbook quickly.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why I wanted him to get Wentz early on, like week 1, week 2.
Right.
So frustrating.
Oh my God, yeah. It's just everything went the wrong way. Like, I thought that Henderson and Freeman did pretty okay this game. I thought they had some impactful runs, some impactful pass protection. I thought that the O-line as well did pretty solid. Like, shout out to like the defensive line as well. I thought they got a lot of pressure, especially early on, getting multiple sacks on Dak. And
yeah, I don't know where it went.
I don't know, but I guess it's just like that snowball just really affected our momentum and our approach and our just mentality in general. Because like the game slipped away from us so fast is that we couldn't know how to gain back that momentum. So it's just very, very frustrating. And I hope Stafford's okay. Like I don't think people are talking enough about how important Stafford's health is.
Yeah, I mean, that's the season.
So yeah, exactly. So I just hope that, and also in terms of the trade deadline, I think that we are staying pat. I think we don't make a trade for anybody. I think we'll just stay with our picks, stay with our assets, see what's out there in free agency, see what's in the draft.
Yeah, it's very unlikely they're going to make a trade. I feel like it was starting, based on what I was hearing, it was starting to sound like it was very unlikely they were going to make a trade anyway, but they had to. I mean, I already said this in the Discord, but I mean, like they really had to win this game to justify making a trade, because the whole thing is like they're not afraid to spend next year. But if they're going to go, they're going to spend a pick to make sure they get somebody to play this year, then what they have to do is essentially, like, if they're going to do that, they need to make sure that it's worth doing. Like, they're not going to do it for a team that now is 3-5. I mean, this is unfamiliar territory this year. I don't believe they've been 2 games below 500 at any point this year. I could be wrong.
I don't
just off the top of my head, I don't think they have.
Oh, maybe. Wait, no, because after Monday Night Football, we were like 1-3.
Nope, 1-2. So this is unfamiliar territory. They have not been 2 games below 500. Yeah, I mean, the Packers game, I hate to be cliche. Yeah, I mean, I hate to.
Depends on Stafford's health.
It definitely does. I hate to be cliche here, but the Packers game is a 100% must win. If they don't win that game,
we're done.
Yeah, I mean, 3-6. You go into the bye, but then it's like, Seattle is 3-7 if you lose that game. So then you still have Baltimore. You still have, the 49ers on there. But it is a pretty easy schedule coming up. And that's why I'm really tempering, at least like trying to slow down like how quickly I give up on the team. Because if they beat Green Bay, there is a pathway here. 4-5. You come out of the bye. I still think they can sweep Seattle. And they will be the home team if they do that. Right. So here's the thing is, if they're 4-5 and then they come out of the bye, they're feeling good. Stafford's feeling good. They're healthy. Kyren Williams is back, I think, week 12, actually. So he wouldn't be back for that.
Week 12.
But I mean, I think they could beat Seattle without Kyren. Then, at that point, you're looking at 5-5. You got Arizona with Kyren. Arizona fans do not want to see Kyren again. I think they go 6-5 there if they have those 2 wins ahead of them. Then you got Cleveland. That could be a little bit of a sketchy game, but you are going to have more fans in attendance. So that's a home game, right? Because Cleveland fans aren't going to travel that well. So, theoretically here, you could be looking at 6-5, and that's 4-game win streak, as long as you beat Green Bay and come out of the bye, right?
Right.
So now you're sitting there at what? 6-5, 7-5 if you beat Cleveland.
Yeah.
Then say you drop Baltimore because that's the toughest game in my
Right.
opinion on the schedule. 7-6. You beat Washington 8-6. Say you lose to the Saints 8-7. Although you
8-7?
can win that game and you could have more fans. The Saints fans do travel decently well, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But 8-7. Giants game, I'm calling 9-7. And then the 49ers game could be to make the playoffs. So
Right.
here's the thing. If the Rams, and this is what I'll say. If the Rams were playing a schedule like they saw the first 8 games of the year, the way they are right now, I would be like, this team's absolutely done.
Yeah.
But if the Rams are playing the schedule that they are, the end of the season now, at the last half, like honestly, if they beat Green Bay, I mean, they're very much in the thick of it. And for people that are saying, be real, Jake, here's the thing. Have you seen the standings? Because it's still wide open. I mean, and that's my thing, Falco, because I look at the NFC and I see, okay, Eagles, they already, they're beyond the Rams. Like they're going to have the number 1 seed in all likelihood, 7-1. Lions are 5-2. They play the Raiders. We'll say they go 6-2. The 49ers are currently losing
to Cincinnati. That's a big game. That's a massive game.
And they did not score. They were in Cincinnati territory. They did not score. It's 17-10. Cincinnati has the ball coming out of the end of the third. So let's just say, for the sake of it, the Niners lose that. That puts them at 5-3. The Lions are at 6-2. The Falcons are winning their division at 4-4 right now. They have a tiebreaker.
That's such a bad division.
It's so bad. And then you have the 5th seed. So, okay, you can't get the 5th seed because Dallas is essentially 3 games ahead of you because of the tiebreaker. Yeah. The 6th seed is Seattle. And Seattle currently is losing.
Yeah, if you can sweep Seattle, there is a realistic path to that 6th seed. Now,
because now you have the tiebreaker.
Yep, but preference this, though. If we do get the 6th seed, that's going to be a very tough matchup, all likelihood, against San Francisco.
Yeah, you just want to get in the dance, though, at this point.
Which is a bad mojo thing for me, considering you said we have to play San Francisco Week 18, and then we have to play them again, theoretically, in the wild card. That's just not good.
Well, like, so the way I see is, all right, so, like, Week 6, Seattle, say they are, not Week 6, seed, the 6th seed. Seattle loses this game. Let's just say the Browns hold on. They're 4-3. So then the Vikings are the 7th seed.
Vikings are selling,
and they might have lost Kirk Cousins for the year.
They have. They pretty much confirmed it is some sort of Achilles.
That's
injury.
awful. I feel for him.
Yeah, that's so awful. Like Minnesota was not playing bad either. They were looking at 4-4.
Yeah.
Before the Cousins injury, they might be feeling a bit more confident about keeping Danielle Hunter. Now, since he's out for the season, more than likelihood, they might be selling. They might be just done with the season because of Jaren Hall has to step up. We don't know how good or bad Jaren Hall could be in that mid-season atmosphere, So.
Yeah, and then you have
Minnesota's an interesting one to look at.
The Saints, they're 4-4. They won today, but I mean, they, the Rams get a shot at them. Then you have the Bucs at 3-4, and then the Rams, who are the 10th seed. So they barely moved down, and they still have the tiebreaker over Washington based on win percentage in conference games. Washington is 3-5. Green Bay Packers are 2-5. They lost to the Vikings today. The Bears, like, these teams aren't even in it. Like, if Green Bay loses to the Rams, they are pretty much done. Like, they're out of it. So at that point, I don't know who's looking at Washington, but if the Rams beat Washington as well, like, they would be pretty much out. So, I mean, it's really right now, the Rams are going up against 4 teams to make the dance. 5 teams if you consider Seattle. But in reality, 3 of these, 5 teams are going to, I mean, Dallas is pretty much a lock at 5-2, and they have tiebreakers over teams they need to. But like Seattle, Minnesota, New Orleans, Tampa, Los Angeles, the Rams can turn this thing around.
Right, for sure. It just depends on Stafford's health at this point. Because if Stafford's down, then call off the season at that point, because I don't feel confident in Brett Rippon.
I love these comments. Rams aren't, in all caps, by the way, Rams aren't winning a playoff game. Just get the best pick possible. You guys are being delusional. How is it delusional?
Oh my God. How?
I just explained to you, like, it's wide open.
Yeah, like, all things considering, it is wide open, but it all depends on Stafford's health at the end of the day, I feel like, because if Stafford is healthy, then sure, we can win a bunch of those games. If Stafford's out, like, the season's done, in my opinion, because...
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If Stafford gets hurt, like, if he's done, like, then they're done. Like, and that's really what it comes down to, but... Yeah, no, I agree with that. Do you think they so final thing here, do you think they beat the Packers?
Honestly, Green Bay, it honestly has to come down to Stafford. I know for a fact that sounds cliche, but listen, I don't feel confident in Brett Rippon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Brett Rippon starts that game, so long as that he's more of like a game manager type quarterback and not mimicking what Stafford did, then there is a shot we win with Brett Rippon and then go into the bye with Stafford hopefully healthy. But I would feel a lot more confident in the Green Bay game if we had Stafford playing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they win with Rippon. I'm just gonna say it right now, but yeah, Falco, I don't know if I'm gonna do anything on kick tonight. I might just take it easy, but maybe I will, and if I do, I'll let you guys know, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, that game took a lot out of me, and
it did.
I'm reeling here, almost 2 hours. I definitely didn't think I'd do it this long, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's been a good chat. Like, again, all depends on the health of Matthew Stafford at the end.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the whole thing. If he can't stay healthy, then I mean, it's that simple. But hey, Falco, appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you too.
Thank you, and I'll see you around, man.
See you around.
All right. All right, Blaze Blue beats Phoenix Nash, and I saw my buddy Ian join the waiting room after I said that I was only going to take 5 more, so I guess I'll let Ian after that. But Blaze, how you doing?
Disappointed, very disappointed today.
Oh, how so?
Very. A couple of things I want to point out again. Like I said last week, Kendricks is not that doesn't. I don't mind him. The thing about him is he pisses me off because every time he gives up penalties or big plays, and then when he makes one play, he starts jabbering like no, dude, you give up too many plays to you start talking. Next thing, Higbee is dropping passes. Ever since he got the contract, he can't catch. I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
But the defense, I'll give Raheem a little bit of credit because he the one thing I've been harping on, kept dropping Hoyt in coverage. This is the first time I saw him use Lake and Shelby instead of dropping Hoyt in coverage. So
yeah, I liked seeing Lake today. I thought he played really well.
Yeah, he played good, but there was a lot of miscommunication on the back end. But I figured they were going to lose since they were in Jerry World. I figured they were going to pay the officials, which they did.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, it was. I would never obviously accuse them of paying the officials, but it was pretty bad today. I'll say that.
Yeah, because like I said, based on their definition of the illegal contact on Lake, okay, fine, but you got to call it both ways. You see the jersey pull on Cooper Kupp, and yet where's the flag? And then the pass interference on Kendricks late in the game. Granted, it was it might have been bang bang, but the fact that the official waved his hands incomplete and then looked down and then threw the flag, I'm like, what are you doing? Usually you throw the flag first and then rule it incomplete.
Yeah.
But
no, it was
this is just
painful.
This game was just horrible. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't fun. It was not fun to watch. Maybe a little bit when they started trying to come back, and they scored a touchdown with when they scored with Skoranek. I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. I still think they're gonna lose, but whatever. And then Stafford out. It's like, ugh. But yeah, it's always something.
That was just funny enough. Like, that was just a fluke thing. The fact that the only reason why his finger actually ended up getting stuck in that helmet was because someone was pulling on his jersey. That's the only reason why that happened.
Yeah, nice missed call there. So 2 questions for you, and then I'll bring on Phoenix.
Okay.
First question is, do you think this team is a playoff team? And what I mean by that is, do you think this team will still make the playoffs?
Depending on which, like the other guy said, it depends on which Rams we get. Do we get the Seattle one, or do we get this version? If we can put it all together, yeah, I think we have a shot at the wild card. I mean, like you said, the back end of the schedule is not that bad. The only team is Ravens. That's it.
Logan Wilson just picked off Brock Purdy, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'm watching the game right now on my TV. So, but yeah, no, if they can at least get 5 wins on that back end, you have a shot.
Yeah. No, definitely.
And yeah, that's. I mean, but it all hinges on Stafford. How is his thumb doing? But I was harping on this at the beginning of the year. The schedule didn't. My dad's probably watching the game downstairs right now. You can hear him yelling.
That's funny.
The schedule didn't help us at all, because the thing that pissed me off about the schedule was that the fact, like you called, the last 2 teams both came off of bye weeks.
Yeah.
Then why are we going to Green Bay for the third year in a row? I think 4 times in the last 4 years, all of them at Green Bay. I think 1 time was in the playoffs. The other 3 times was at there. Why?
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing. I do know the reason. It's because, and it's so hard to explain, but every year the Rams, or any team for that matter, plays, one division in the AFC, the whole team, all the teams, and then 1 division in the NFC. So so essentially the Rams, the last time they had the rotation around, I believe it was the Rams playing the NFC North. They played Green Bay at the Coliseum. So then the next time they have the rotation, which is this year, it's at the Coliseum. But then there's also, I think, the 3rd place schedule. And that, so you see what I mean? Like if it's it needs to be changed, right? It's dumb. But basically they give you an alternate if it's with the rotation for the actual division, it goes home, away, but it doesn't have anything to do with it if you're playing them based on them finishing where they are in their schedule, because you also play teams based on their spot in the schedule or the spot in the rankings. So since they finished as the 3rd team in the NFC West and Green Bay finished as the 3rd team, they would play them. However, the last time those 2 finished, that was probably LA. So that's the thing that sucks, is that really it just needs to be anytime they play, it should be home, away, home, away, home, away. Instead, it's home, away, then home, away. Like, you know what I mean? It's like 2 different rotations going on. And it's stupid. And I shouldn't have to explain something like that. And it shouldn't take me that long to explain something. That's how you know how stupid it is. It's that complicated.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's why it's dumb. But I'll say this right now, and this is one for the people that really are troubled by this. So the 49ers, in 2021, when they faced the Rams in the NFC title game, the 49ers started the season 3-5. They won 7 out of their last 9 games to go 10-7. No, that's right. 7 out of the last 9. They beat Chicago. They got blown out by Arizona. They got blown out by Indianapolis. They lost to Arizona close game. They lost to Seattle close game. They lost to Green Bay close game. They beat Philly close game, and they beat Detroit close game. Does any of that sound familiar?
Yeah.
A lot of close games, and then all of a sudden blowouts came out of nowhere. And the team was 3-5. So I'm just saying, I mean, it wasn't straight off the bye either. They had one loss coming off the bye, a blowout against the Indianapolis Colts. They had a week 6 bye, but they took a 3-5 season, and then they won 3 straight. Then they lost a close game in Seattle. Then they won in overtime against the Bengals to make it 7-6. Then they beat Atlanta, a blowout, 8-6. They lost to Tennessee, 8-7. They beat Houston by a blowout, 9-7. And they beat the Rams in overtime to go to the playoffs at 10-7. So who knows, man? The whole NFC West right now is right now losing. The Rams already lost. The Cardinals have no chance of beating Baltimore. It's the fourth quarter and they're losing 21-7. Baltimore just got past the 50. The Browns are trying to hang on here, up 20-17 on Seattle. And the Bengals are up 24-10 right now on the 49ers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's and it frustrates you even more. Like the opportunity the Rams have had with the 49ers about to lose their 3rd straight game if they can't come back here. It is so frustrating.
Yeah, and another like you said, the whole NFC is wide open. The fact that all these unfortunately Kirk Cousins got hurt. Now the Minnesota's probably going to fall off. That division's open up for grabs now.
Yeah.
So Green Bay is, you never know. Chicago's definitely not doing anything. So.
Yeah, imagine if they trade for Trey Lance. They'd be right in the mix to. They have a quarterback. You know the system. Instead Dallas traded for him, and they don't even need him right now.
Yeah. But what was your second question then?
Oh, yeah. My second question was going to be, do you think the Rams beat the Packers this weekend? And obviously, I think the caveat is Aaron Rodgers being healthy or not.
You mean Matt Stafford?
What did I say?
You said Aaron Rodgers.
Why did I say Aaron Rodgers? That's how you can tell I'm at the end of my rope right now when it comes to this freaking live stream. God. Matthew Stafford. Good Lord.
If Stafford's healthy, give us a shot. If not, I don't know. I mean, heck, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was you or someone else tweeted out that Perkins is still available. Perkins is still a free agent. If the brother quarterback that used to be with the Rams.
Yeah.
I think Wilfork's on another team, right? I don't remember where he's at. Oh, I think he's on Tampa.
Yeah, he's on Tampa's practice squad, so I think he would be an option.
Okay.
I mean, anything over Rippon at this point. I don't think Rippon's going to win a game with the Rams.
No. But what? Oh, you mentioned that. I know that's not part of the question, but yeah, I think the Rams can win it. But you mentioned earlier when you mentioned Tutu, he's being used as a decoy, which pretty much now he's just doing the Van Jefferson role, that's what he was doing last year. Van Jefferson would be clearing out space.
Yep.
For Cooper Kupp.
Exactly. And I mean, that's got to be 100% success rate, because if not, Tutu Atwell only has 1 drop this year.
Yeah.
I just let him cook, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
Yeah, just let him, unfortunately, since Cooper Kupp has been back, the offense has kind of looked out of sorts. It was moving better, unfortunately, without him.
Yeah.
That's because Stafford had to rely on everyone.
Yeah. No, you're right there.
But
so you have them over the Packers?
Yeah, I have him over the Packers. If Stafford plays and he's healthy and he doesn't do his usual throw a pick 6, yeah, we win. If he's hurt, no, we have no shot.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they won with Rippon. They would. The problem. Okay, here's the problem. I don't trust Sean McVay to let him be a game manager. You know what I mean? I feel like Rippon would still throw 30 times And that should never happen. Rypien should only be throwing 15. You should be running at 35 to 40. Like,
Yeah.
I would never. Yeah, no. But I just don't trust that McVay wouldn't just let him uncork it. And we saw Rypien today uncorking the ball. He had cup wide open, totally missed him out of bounds, and he underthrew Higbee. Higbee still has to catch it, but underthrew Higbee.
Yeah, that's the thing that pissed me off about him. Like I said earlier, he signed that contract, and all of a sudden now he can't catch the ball for some reason. That doesn't. Either you give back that money and make sure you earn it and give it back, and then maybe he might start catching the ball more.
Yikes.
I mean, because like I said, it's been pretty obvious since he signed the contract, he's dropping everything.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. He's had a bunch of drops late. It looks like the Niners are driving down the field, by the way. It's 3rd and 6 at the Cincinnati 14.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I'm a little behind. It was Kittle. I was watching the play before Kittle just dropped it. It was 3rd and 5 now. But
Cleveland just picked up the first down, though. It's 1st and 10, Cleveland 34, 3:34 to go. They're up by 3. That's a game to look out for because Seattle needs to continue to win. Like, you know, this is going to be a tight race between, I mean, obviously Dallas, I think, has that 5th spot locked up. I mean, it's early. Don't get me wrong. But Dallas has 3 games on the Rams, is my point. But, you know, Seattle does not have the tiebreaker with the Rams. And then you have the Vikings. Right, we don't know what the Vikings are going to do. This is, by the way, this very interesting week for Kirk Cousins to tear his Achilles because the trade deadline is Tuesday. So if the Vikings wanted to, they could theoretically trade for a quarterback. Kirk Cousins is in the final year of his deal. If he's done, I mean, this changes everything, you know, and that's actually, it's really sad and I feel bad for him, but it really does change everything. Do the Vikings trade for Jacoby Brissett? Like something like that, you know? And then you look at, you know, the Saints and it's like the Saints haven't looked great at any point, but you know, they flashed a little bit. Kamara's back. He's healthy. The Buccaneers are kind of you know, it's just like, I don't, you know, I feel like it's just wide open for the taking. Just the Rams really have to take care of business this weekend. I think you and I definitely agree with that. I think most people agree with that. Rams have to take care of business against the Packers this upcoming weekend. They need to enjoy the bye, just get healthy, and then get back at it, and then we'll see. But it's wide open right now, and I mean, you know, if the Browns hold off Seattle here, like that's a huge win. First off, I mean the Browns would be 5-2, which that is crazy. But Seattle,
and that's without Deshaun, by the way, too.
Yeah, I mean that might probably be the reason, but but Seattle would fall to 4-3, and now it's like you know gets a little interesting here because you know now Seattle has you know they played the Cardinals last week. They would have the Ravens next in Baltimore. So that's the thing. They'd have the Ravens. Okay, then they have the Commanders. So say, you know, they drop to 4-3 against the Browns. They go to 4-4 against the Ravens. They're 5-4 against the Commanders. They got the Rams, 49ers, Cowboys, 49ers, Eagles. Like Seattle could get knocked the hell out over the course of 5 weeks.
Yep.
So they need this game. Because it does not get easier with the Niners twice, almost back-to-back weeks. It's Niners, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles. That stretch. Rams, Niners, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles. That's one of the most brutal stretches I think I've seen.
That's nasty.
Yeah, that's brutal. And then, you know, okay, so say Seahawks, it looks tough, and that's an opportunity for the Rams. Dallas upcoming, they have it pretty easy. I think they're going to make it. But, I mean, at the same time, they don't. They got the Lions, Dolphins, Bills, Eagles, Seahawks. They also have the Eagles coming up right away. So they have the Eagles twice. Bills, Dolphins, Lions to end the season. They also have the Commanders and the Giants and the Panthers. But those aren't easy games. Then you look at Tampa. And Tampa has the Texans, Titans, 49ers, Colts, Panthers, Falcons, Packers, Jaguars, Saints, Panthers. A mixed bag. Like, they could sneak into the playoffs with that. And then the Vikings here. Where's the Vikings? Okay. The Vikings have the Falcons, Saints, Broncos, Bears, Raiders, Bengals, Lions, Packers, Lions. They have the Lions twice, and they have the Bengals who are figuring it out. They have some wins left. I mean, it's done. Okay, so Kirk Cousins officially tore his Achilles. That's really upsetting. So, I mean, we don't know what the Vikings are going to do, though. We don't know, Kevin O'Connell could cook something up. The Saints have the Bears, the Vikings, the Falcons, the Lions, the Panthers, the Giants, the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Falcons. The Saints have the easiest schedule moving forward, without a doubt. So the Rams pretty much have to beat the Saints. They do have, the Lions need to win. The Saints have it pretty easy, I'm not going to lie. So... Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight. Going to be an absolute dogfight for those last two spots in the playoffs. I'll just say that right now. But
now, last quick question: do you think if the Rams will do anything at the trade deadline, and if they do, what position do you think they need?
Yeah, to wrap it up, I think they need to go after a pass rusher, but I don't think they're going to. I think they are going to look at today's game and just go with things really slowly. Just take things at, one day at a time. I do not see them by any stretch trying to make a trade following a blowout loss. Had they had a blowout win against the Cowboys, now maybe they're on the phones. Maybe they're more, because I think the way they look at it is, all right, we'll be able to find somebody. We're willing to pay them next year. They'll be able to find a pass rusher next year, but I don't see the urgency. I'm not hearing about it. Just who I've talked to, there's not really an urgency there for the Rams. And again, if this is a 5-2 ball club, 5-3, 6-2, whatever, yes, it changes things and they might be a little bit more interested. But right now, a 3-5 ball club that just lost in a blowout, I don't see them feeling like they need to make a trade to help save the season. I think they're just kind of, they're going to ride it out. So
I find it funny, though. I was just kind of going through Twitter here. Like, one of the Steelers players was complaining about the officials, saying the officials were against them this game. I'm like, did you not watch the game last week? I'm just going to call it karma.
Yeah. Yeah, Seattle just got the ball. It's 20-17. They got a minute 57 at their own 43. So we'll see. I really want the Browns to hold on to this game, but obviously nothing's a guarantee here. But hey, appreciate you, man, and we'll catch up next week.
Yep, see you next week. Hopefully after a win.
Yeah, hopefully after a win.
All right, have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care. All right, what's up, Phoenix?
Jake.
How you doing?
Good question.
Loaded question.
Loaded question. Honestly, it's kind of good that I didn't see the rest of the game, but I saw like maybe the first 30 minutes and like what everybody else is saying. Probably the miss PI and the Lake and on Cup, those calls.
Yeah.
Saying like it set the tone, and I was like, okay, we got another game like this. So let's see how this ends up. And then, because I was at a meeting the majority of the time, and then when I came back, I saw the score and I was like, 43. Oh, great. I'm like, oh, this is nice. So, frustrated, really frustrated. Because I know this squad, this is a good squad. I know, like, this is a good team. Like, I understand we have our bad days, but this was, like, really bad. Like, and then Stafford is hurt again,
Yeah.
It's like, and then, like, I just heard, like, you guys were just covering, like, Kirk Cousins. That's a bummer for Minnesota. Like, man.
I know, to come off that win against the 49ers and then just to lose your quarterback like that.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But, I'm hopeful because I know this is what Stafford. This is what I like about Stafford, but it irks me. It's like Stafford is like one of the toughest quarterbacks that I've ever seen. You know,
Yeah.
like, but that can be his like downfall at times. It's like, okay, like, dude, you need to like sit your ass down, like like heal up, you know. But I love that he plays with heart and stuff like that. But like what everybody's saying, like, dude, like if you're gonna play, like, come on, like utilize this offense. Like, you got Puka, you got Tutu, like stop making him a decoy, like, make him a three deep threat. Like throw down the field to him because he's gonna catch it. I know he is. Like you got to do that. Like stop forcing it to Cup. If he's dropping like 2 or 3 times, don't keep throwing it to him. You got other people on the team that you could throw to. But
Yeah.
it is kind of weird that Cup and Higby are dropping because it's not like them. Usually one game Cup will drop a pass and then be like, oh crap, all hell's gonna like break loose. But then he corrects it and then he starts balling. Same with Higby. It's so weird that this is like starting to happen, and yeah, it's weird, Jake. It's very weird, man.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's see. I'll ask you 2 quick questions. I'm gonna try to get through. I know I have Ian in here waiting, and then that's gonna do it for me. I'm about dead at this point. But the first question. Do you think this team makes the playoffs this year? And the second question is, do you think they beat Green Bay this week?
Well, that's a trick. My answer is gonna be for that question, for the playoffs. If we're playing like this, to where like the play calling and all this like is disarray and stuff, then no, we're not gonna make the playoffs. Like if we somehow skate by, cool. But if we're playing like this, I don't think we're gonna make it. And it's not that I'm
Yeah.
like down the team. It's just it is what look what we're seeing. It's like we're seeing drop passes, like we're passing on like first down from like the 25 rather than just running the ball when we have 2 good running backs that can run. Like Hendo and Freeman are good running backs. Like we need to utilize them more.
I agree with that.
Why are we so pass happy? Are we trying to like make like highlights or some shit? I don't get it. Like run the damn ball. Like, if we keep running the ball, Stafford gets a little bit healthier, and maybe he'll like throw to other people. I don't know. But to answer your question, like, yeah, hopefully, I'm still optimistic. That we'll get it together like after the bye. I'm thinking that after the bye, like it's gonna be like a total 180, honestly. And to answer your question with Green Bay, if Rippon's behind the ball, no, man, I don't trust that dude. Sorry, like I need Stafford in there. If Rippon does the absolute minimum, maybe I don't know, but I need Stafford out there, 100%.
So if Stafford plays, you do think you don't think they win, or you do think they win if Stafford plays?
No, Stafford. Yeah, definitely.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm just saying if Rippon's playing, then it's very slim. Like,
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm trying to give this team the benefit of the doubt. Like, because I know we're a good squad. I know we are. And it's like, it shouldn't be like this. Like, at least we should have been close with, like, the Cowboys. But, this is the whole Cowboys MO. They have, like, an awesome season, but then they fall short during the playoffs. So, I'm wondering if that's going to happen again. So, but the good news is that Cincinnati just scored again. So,
yeah, the Browns blew it, so that sucks.
sorry. That's all.
Yeah, Seattle
Okay.
shouldn't be 5-2. I
No.
can't believe Seattle's 5-2. Oh my God.
Well, it is what it is, Jake. But I'm just hoping that, like, thinking of the future, we take, what we're learning from this season, and next season we go hard. Like, there shouldn't be like any excuses next season. Like, there should be no excuse why we're a 3-5 team or stuff like that. Like, I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt because we got a lot of rookies and stuff like that. But this should be like tight knit, like towards like next season, or at least tighter after the bye. Hopefully, I'm hoping.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna keep you on any longer. I know, like, you've been talking for a while. This is a stinger, but I just want to thank you for having me on and chatting with you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, it's coming off a game like that. I didn't even want to go live, but I'm consistent with it. I'm not going to just bail out on people. I know this is somewhat of a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It makes it a little bit easier. Therapy. There we go. It's therapeutic for people to to talk about it afterwards. So. But yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. But you take care.
You too. Have a good one, man.
All right, peace.
All right, Ian. You there, my guy?
What's up, homie? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm hanging on by a thread.
I know, man. Well, hey, dude. I mean, it's just, Jake, everything that we said needed to change, none of it happened this week, right? I mean, let's just keep it short and simple in that respect.
on the first drive.
Yeah,
it's like the first drive they heard everything I said, everything that you said. They mixed it up. They ran the ball first and foremost, and then you had some slip screens. You had like an actual good bubble screen. Threw it to Tutu, and then I don't even know, man.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame. I just think, I think I was one of the people that was going into the season with no expectations. But I think after that week 1 shellacking we gave the Seahawks up in, the Northwest, we had hope. We played the Niners really tight the following week. Okay, this team could be really good. And then things just collapsed since then, haven't they? I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame. And I think we just all got false hope off the weirdness of week 1. I think that's what happened. But at the end of the day, I just think, to your questions, I heard the questions you asked the other gentleman. So do I think the Rams are a playoff team? Hell no. No, they're not. We're at the halfway point. What have they done objectively? We're all fans, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And we all want to hope and believe. But let's just be real. Objectively, how has anything they've done on film worthy of being a playoff team? Nothing.
No, they're a middling team that has a shot to be in the playoffs because the NFC is that bad.
Yeah, that's really it. Truthfully, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's crappy. And then to your second about do they beat Green Bay, I have no reason to believe they're going to beat Green Bay. Why should I believe in that? Honestly, objectively, what have they done for me to believe that they're going to be an inferior team when they can't beat the teams that are, quote unquote, inferior to the Rams? If Matthew plays, the other quarterback plays, we're not winning that game. Let's just be real. And it's unfortunate. It's just really, really unfortunate because we could have lost to Philly still, and the Niners still, and the Cowboys still. But if we just take care of business in the other couple games, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, we're not in a bad spot. But because I think Coach McVay's play calling, which we've been on it for a half a season now, has been so basic, it just costs us games. And Jake, as a defensive player, I feel for those guys, man. They've done plenty, and it's just we're hitting that point now, similar to Denver last year, where the defense has done enough, and they just fold. They're just tired. They just can't keep it up anymore. We're hitting that point, dude. Where there might be worse.
They've been on the plate on the field too long. Yeah,
it's coming, man.
They need a bye. Yeah.
we need that bye.
They need a buy so bad. I had somebody inside the organization just tell me they needed a buy and that like Stafford's hip was not doing well. And yeah, it's just it's not good. And I mean, but it's gut check time. And you know, not to give Sean McVay a pass, because I'm definitely not doing that. But I do like that. Like I like his point is that, you know, this is an opportunity. You know, where like they haven't lost 2 straight yet. Like, you know what I mean? They haven't been 2 games below 500 yet. So like this is a huge opportunity. This is make or break type of season spot where, you know, this is. I mean, you beat the Green Bay Packers. You go into the bye at 4-5. Sure, it's not maybe what you wanted, but 4-5 coming out of the easiest part of the schedule by a mile, one of the easiest schedules left in the NFC, bodes well. And you know,
that's true, yeah.
if you put it together, I mean, I just went through all the different team schedules. I mean, the NFC, like Kirk Cousins going down again. I don't know what the Vikings are going to do. I don't know if this is going to be sell. I don't know if they're going to look at it as buy and get a quarterback. I don't know. But the Vikings, like, you know, they're kind of just chilling there. I mean, really the only team besides the Cowboys, because I mean, just consider them essentially 3 games ahead of the Rams with this win. But you know, you look at the Seahawks. Like, first off, I don't think they should be 5-2, and I think that's going to catch up with them. The back half of their schedule is absolutely insane. And I mean, the Rams come out of the bye and they beat Seattle, go 5-5. They have an opportunity to do what the 49ers did in 2021. They started the season 3-5. Everyone counted them out. Everyone said they were bad. They rallied, and they became probably one of the more dangerous teams in the league by the end of the year. I think the Rams can do that. I mean, they have enough players to do that. They definitely have like the type of players to do that. I just think right now they need to be well aware of the fact their identity needs to be run first, short pass second, open up the big play third. You know, short and intermediate second. And I feel like now it's deep to short, a deep to intermediate to short to run. Like running is their last option. It
is. I mean, Jake, it's Sean was so on point with play calling with Jared, and it was the passing plays that were putting us in a bind when everyone thought Jared was terrible, right? That 2020 season.
Yeah.
Now that Matthew is here, there's such a reliance on, hey, we don't have to be overly complicated in the passing game. Matthew will figure it out, and he did, and we won a championship. But we've talked about this a gazillion times. We're just beating the dead horse, aren't we?
Yeah.
We have to diversify the whole offense. It's just teams have figured us out. It's really that simple. And it's just, and this is another thing, Jake. People don't talk about this. Jake, the O-line isn't that good. They're just not. They're really good at...
No, but they were solid today.
Jake, they don't... Look, I say this, let me put it into perspective. I think we haven't run it enough to get a full sample size of how good or bad they are at that. I think they'd be on tipping towards the good side if we ran it more. Jesus, we made the whole, you know, philosophy change in preseason, but obviously it hasn't come to fruition. We made the body type change, right? We got bigger dudes on purpose, but we haven't committed to it. That's a separate issue. But I think, Jake, the Rams O-line can hold up in a straight-up rush pretty decent, I think, to good. And they've shown that throughout the past, you know, half season. But they cannot handle blitzes, and they cannot handle stunts well. I mean, we have 8 weeks of film. It's obvious. There's no denying that. Teams continue to blitz, continue to stunt because they don't pick it up. And what does that happen? What does that lead to, I should say? Stafford having to throw it away or eat it and get hit, and now here we are with him wondering what's going to happen next. So I just think we got to just stop throwing it so damn much. It's got to be – I mean, we know this. I mean, gosh, we talk about this every week, dude. It's
oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, you have an injured quarterback, and you have a, you know, offensive line that – I mean, it's not bad. It's just – it's okay. I don't get it. And you have injuries on the offensive line. Like you have Rob Havenstein who's out. And, you know, it's just like, I don't know. To me, the way Henderson and Royce continue to run, I know Henderson didn't have the yards per carry made up for a big time in the passing game. He was their leading receiver. I just feel like you got to lean on those guys. And then when Kyron comes back, now you have a 3-headed backfield. I mean, all 3 of them I trust in pass protection. Hell, I trust Gaskin in pass protection. When he gets a hold of the offense, I think he could be used in this offense. But I mean,
so as well.
Currently, like, why was this the first time we've seen Ben Skoronk since like week 4? Like, it's just
unacceptable, man.
It's just the same things. It's like, hey, you know, Puka and Cooper Kupp, like, go deep down the field, or, you know, have a bunch of choice routes where, you know, they lead to interceptions because Kupp and Matthew Stafford aren't on the same page. And it's like, man, enough with the choice routes. It's gone sideways so much. It is way worse. It is doing way more against you than it is for you. So please, for the love of God, cut the choice routes out. It has just gotten to be ridiculous to this point.
Yeah.
But
Jake, real quick, think about this. I can give you all 10 plays they do, just slightly different variation.
Mm-hmm.
Duo, ISO in the run game. That's it. Swiss as a concept in passing, and you guys can look that up. I won't go into the deep dive. Dagger, sail, deep cross, short cross. That's it. It's just slightly different. Those are the 7 same plays, just a slightly and choice. My bad. Choice with Kupp or choice with Puka.
Yeah.
8 plays. It's the same 8 plays, slightly different formation, and that's it. And no wonder why we can't score points, everybody. It's just Sean McVay's just lost it, dude. It's been a year and a half of the same nonsense. Last year was because of injury. This year, what's the excuse? There's none. We have good players on offense, and it's just, I mean, that's to my point. Why should I believe they're going to change all of a sudden and beat Green Bay when their defense doesn't suck? Their offense is terrible, but knowing how that goes, they're probably going to find a good performance out of this against us, right? That just seems to be how it is, unfortunately. So, yeah, unless Sean McVay changes and gets more diverse, it's going to be the same story. We're going to squeak one out, maybe in overtime like the Colts, or we're just going to continue to lose close games or get our ass kicked. That's just how it's going to be till that changes with play calling. It's really that simple.
Yeah, it's painful. I think right now just the Rams are kind of in no man's land, which is not where you want to be. At the same time, they have every opportunity to bounce back, and we can hope that they do. I can tell you right now, that Bengals team that beat the 49ers today, they're figuring it out. They're figuring it out, and this is around the time where teams show who they are. And the Rams today might have shown who they are, but I think that's the whole point about you come out, you beat the Packers next week, you go into the bye at 4-5, you come out of the bye, you beat the Seattle Seahawks, and now you've won 2 straight. Now you have a chance. You know, you got Arizona. You got these teams that, I mean, that's why I just can't count the Rams out, because if they had the first 8 weeks schedule coming up, I'd be like, I don't know. The schedule, though, to end the season, it's very favorable. And they're